95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
We welcome you on in to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. Thanks for listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free to download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, TuneIn apps, and our YouTube and Twitch streams up now at The Fan Rochester, our channel on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia, and that's a long holiday weekend in front of us, buddy.
Yeah, it is, yes. We are trying to be strategic with our time off, and knowing that the Wednesday afternoon, maybe you're cutting out of work early tomorrow, maybe you're not even going into work. Well, so Danger and I took a little extra time tomorrow.
Yeah, we thought to ourselves, hey, what could possibly happen on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving? Well, the Bills get back to work tomorrow. They're off today. We do have a signing, though, that we do want to talk about. That we'll get to here later this afternoon. We've got a good show lined up for you here. Our Friday episode here in a shortened week at the Sports Bar with Michael F. Florio from NFL Network. We'll talk some fantasy football in Week 13 with the great Michael F. Florio here right around 4:45.
Yeah, so it is a short week, right? So who do you want to play on Thanksgiving? Who should you pick up tonight? Don't get caught off guard because you're going to be busy with something family related. So Michael F. Florio will give us his advice. NFL Network. Oh, by the way, proud card-carrying member of Bills Mafia. He does the podcast there with Stevie Johnson, the Sick Podcast, and we'll talk some Bills football with Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network coming up at the end of the 4 o'clock hour.
We'll also get a check-in from Rochester Americans head coach Mike Leone. Mike Leone, who was not with the team this past weekend, we'll get an update on where the Amherst stand here going into the holiday break, or going into our holiday break, not a break for the team, as they'll be playing Wednesday and on Friday.
Yeah, so coach is back. We can tell you that. And their Amherst are home Wednesday. They're home Friday. I think the league did the Amherst here a solid because in our town, like many places, tomorrow night is going to be huge for a night going out. And also Black Friday is going to be huge. The Amherst are telling me for a Wednesday night game, they've crossed 6,000.
Nice.
For tomorrow. And they are on pace for 8,000 plus. Now, that could change over the next few days, but when I hear 8,000 on a Friday, that gives me hope that, okay, that place is going to be jumping for the regular season. So we'll talk to Mike Leone. Two big crowds coming up. Mike Leone, can his team deliver? We'll talk to the Amherst head coach at 4:25.
Yeah, Wednesday is the amateur night, right? Like that's Donkey Punch Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, where everybody gets together.
You remember Fritz from the coach, by the way. They're rebuilding the coach.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so like good friend of the show. He taught me about amateur night, and it's like, okay, if you're in this business, the bar business, yes, you do this, but it's, for everybody working in service tomorrow night, God bless. It's tough. It's
what I was going to say is the professionals are going to the Amherst game. Amateur night is amateur night, but the pros are going to the Amherst game.
Pros are going to the Amherst game.
That's right. The Amherst game tomorrow, 7:05 puck drop against Cleveland. You'll be able to hear the action here on your home for Amherst hockey. The Fan Rochester. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 866-4FAN. That's award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com.
As we were going to talk to Chris Mack at the bottom of the hour.
The universe does not want us to talk to Chris Mack today.
Nope.
The universe is working against us and has told us maybe we should target Chris Mack for next week after the Bills play the Steelers. Maybe on Monday we talk. I don't know, but the universe today did not want us to talk to Chris Mack.
It's a good idea. As I like to joke with some people. Ever heard this one? You can't spell danger without ANGER.
Well, Gino, I've said that often, and usually I can maintain a level head. I think most of the time. It's when the same bad things happen multiple times. Like, I think in life, you make mistakes. Everybody will make a mistake. You can make a mistake once, learn from that mistake, and that's called growth. If you make the same mistake twice, you're just dumb. You're a knucklehead. Don't make the same mistake twice. And, when something is, I don't know, not going your way, okay, well, that's fine. Let's try an alternate solution. There's no problem here. There's an opportunity to learn something else. But then when you go to try and figure that out and that also doesn't work in your favor, then I start to lose my cool. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
No, we're not going to. And let me make clear, we love Dan DeLorean. It has zero to do with Dan DeLorean. He was actually kind of laughing. He had the same issues. But I'll just finish on this note that in many places you may have people that have problems with accountability. And here at 95.7 FM, the sports leader, we're kind of like other people too.
I got frustrated, and when we were trying to record with Chris Mack earlier, and I threw my headset, which I haven't done. I don't think I've thrown my cans in frustration 15 years. Good 15 years.
I've never seen it. Today was the first time I saw that.
Yeah, I remember one time. This is back when I was still working on PXY, and the studio door was open, and Boss Lady came by, and I was getting a winner's information or something happened where they disconnected, and it was out of my, and I got so mad, and I raised my voice, and I said some naughty things. And I threw my headset, and she walked by. And she, at the exact time that Boss Lady walked by, you know how there's a commercial going on where it said, "Don't bark at your boss," like the Georgia Bulldog fan that's barking at his boss. I didn't bark at my boss, but she heard me say some really mean, terrible things. And I think that was the last time I threw my headset. Now, I've had these for well over 20 years. These are like, they're part of me. They're, like at this point, they're the tool of the trade. It's that old hammer that was passed down from generation to generation. This is my tool in broadcasting. So I recognize that I've had them a long time, and they were hanging on by a thread. I whipped them today, and they still work. They still work, Gino. So not all is lost. We couldn't get Chris Mack on with us today. That's fine. We'll angle to get him on again soon, maybe as soon as Monday. Hopefully we can connect and recap this Sunday's action between the Bills and the Steelers, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, that's it. You want some more gallows humor, Danger?
I saw this, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and I just kind of chuckled. And you know what? I don't know if it affects anything to do with this year's Buffalo Bills or not, and I guess the notion that this is happening again isn't exclusive to the Buffalo Bills. It happens all over the place. Every NFL team does this. But it feels as if we do it with a different purpose than some of these other teams, meaning when we sign a retread to our practice squad, there's probably a handshake agreement at some point that player is going to get on the field. There's going to be, it's not about the development of a player. And look, the practice squad isn't what it used to be years ago. It used to be strictly for developing players. And now it's like, no, you can stash veterans on there. And it doesn't matter if you're an undrafted free agent or a veteran free agent. It doesn't matter. Well, the Bills have brought Shaq Lawson onto their practice squad. So he gets to work out with Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. Nothing happens from that. Nothing comes of that. He works out with the Bills earlier this week, and they go ahead and sign with the practice squad. This is 31-year-old Shaq Lawson. You remember him, first-round pick back in the Rex Ryan era, 2016. It's now his third stint with the Bills. He spent his first 4 here. He came back with Sean McDermott 22 and 23, and then last year he was in one game for the Panthers. One game in 2024.
So since Tyler Bass misses a field goal and the Chiefs win in Buffalo, remember that playoff game? You mean to tell me Shaq Lawson has played in one game?
One game.
Since that point.
Was that a good game for him? I want to say that was a good game for him. Like, he was in that game, and I want to say he made a play or two. I almost feel like there's a sentimentality that maybe McDermott carries, like these guys have been a part of this through the last 8 or 9 years, and we want to, we want them to get a bite of the apple as well. I don't know. I mean, I know this is not exclusive to the Bills. I know path of least resistance is real in the NFL. It's real in all walks of life. But it feels as if the Bills now, with I want to say they're up to 8 guys on the practice squad that have been with this team and have come back.
Well, I would ask the question this. Is this kind of a taboo thing? Meaning, okay, it's good to fill the practice squad with veterans, right? Guys that can help you now. And I would agree from that standpoint that we are not in the development phase. We are in the win now phase. So it doesn't really help bringing in some street free agent that was really, really good in college and didn't get drafted and had a good camp. There are a few of those guys on the Bills practice squad, but no, you need guys that in a pinch you could get promoted. But here's my question. You mean to tell me on the 31 other practice squads in this league, there isn't a wide receiver that's better than, I don't know, Elijah Moore, or could deliver something better to you? And maybe wide receiver isn't the best positional example, Danger, because, hey, wide receiver, you got to learn routes, you got to blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about just a position like defensive end where pretty much, hey, are you in shape? Okay, go. There isn't too much to learn. Or running back or any other position. You mean to tell me that the Bills aren't scouring other practice squads to bring on guys to the active 53? Is that a taboo thing? Is it like the NHL restricted free agent offer sheet thing?
So like it's an unspoken gentleman's agreement that you're not going to pluck players from other teams' practice squads?
It doesn't happen on the Bills practice squad, does it? When do we ever hear like, oh my gosh, the Bills lost a player to the practice, signed by somebody else?
Yeah, it almost feels like it is an unspoken agreement within the organizations, within the teams. Like, this is our guy, and we don't want to. We're not going to give him up, or you're not going to take him from us. Think about the guys that have left and come back to Buffalo. And some of these guys are playing meaningful snaps. And to your point about wide receiver, the Bills did find that wide receiver. He wasn't on a practice squad. He was a free agent. They brought back Gabe Davis. Don't forget, like, that's your best option.
Right, that's it.
That's your best option. So you could go back to Trey White and him returning to the team. Meaningful snaps. He's been a contributor. Hasn't been great, but he's been out there for a lot of the snaps on defense. Jordan Poyer, we laughed. Like, we saw him in Miami. There was nothing left last year in Miami. Why do we think it's going to look different in Buffalo? And Poyer has made a couple of nice plays, but he's also been out of position a handful of times. He's obviously a step slower than we remember him in his prime. He's been out there because of the injury to Taylor Rapp. Out of necessity, you're playing Jordan Poyer probably more than you wanted to. Jordan Phillips coming back. He's been playing meaningful snaps. And I don't think that's ideal. And of course, Gabe Davis, who I mentioned, Dane Jackson, Balin Spector, now Shaq Lawson. I mean, you've got guys who have spent time here, are coming back, and I don't think it's just so they can sit on the practice squad. Like, Balin Spector has been out on special teams. Dane Jackson has played some defensive snaps this year. You're going to see Shaq Lawson at some point. You're going to see Shaq Lawson on the defensive line. A guy who hasn't played in over a full season is going to get play in the back half of this season for the Bills.
Well, how do you fix this moving forward? Here's my opinion. I sense we're going to have kind of a difference of opinion when it comes to the draft, which that's fine. Where you planted your flag. We don't even know who that player is yet, Danger, but you said, hey, defensive player, gift difference maker, go up and get that guy, do it, get the game changer. And I will listen to that, meaning who on this defense did you really have to worry about? No one. So I will listen to that. But I also would point out that this Bills roster is poor when it comes to depth. And that's the problem this year. Guys going down, next guy up, it's not working.
And you could go to the root of guys going down. The injuries this year feel significantly more in volume than last year. I feel like there's more injuries that they're dealing with this year than in years past, and it's not a coincidence. They got rid of their strength and conditioning coach in the offseason. They brought in a new strength and conditioning coach this offseason. We saw the injuries in training camp. That should have been the first red flag.
Well, the guy who took over was kind of there all along as an assistant, but was he qualified? I kind of, the parallel being special teams, like, hey, you fire the one guy and you promote the other guy and he ends up being worse. Some of this is certainly probably just, bad luck. And by the way, what really did happen with Allen Oliver first time around after the Baltimore game? Was that really an ankle injury? I'm just allowed to question that, right?
Nobody really knows.
Nobody really knows. Nobody saw it,
Yeah, the speculation was that he fell off a horse?
Well, I mean, no, just putting it out there that maybe some of this has nothing to do with a strength and conditioning coach. My point is that
that would not be a good story. That would not be a favorable story for the team nor the player if it was true that Ed Oliver missed time because he fell off his horse. That would be a bad look, I think, for the team. So if that, we would never know the truth behind that injury.
The point I want to make is that they missed pretty much on this draft. When we identified, like, hey, you got to be like Kansas City was when they won the Super Bowl. You need all your draft picks to contribute. And where you might be saying trade up and get your defensive guy, I'm saying trade down and get more picks, because I think it's fair. Let's review Maxwell Harrison. Hey, he ran with Xavier Worthy. He hasn't done much else. Now, he's a rookie, Gene. Give him time. I get that. But
he was injured for the first part of the season.
That also counts against him, too. TJ Sanders, injured. Okay, maybe he turns in a play or two down the stretch. Landon Jackson, injured. This year is a complete washout for the third-round pick. Deion Walker.
Fantastic.
Could be outstanding. Danger. He could be your best defensive lineman on this team in 2 years.
He's your best rookie right now, easily.
Far and away. Jordan Hancock, okay. I'd like to see a little bit more, but what does it say that they don't trust Jordan Hancock out there, that they're putting Jordan Poyer over Jordan Hancock? Jackson Hawes, like him. There's something there. Dorian Strong, injured. I really fear for his career. Chase Lunt, no. Caden Prather, he's gone. Like, in terms of contributions, it's Walker, a little bit from Hawes. Maybe you're hoping something from Sanders and a little bit more from Harrison, assuming Harrison's going to be healthy here.
Right, he's concussed. So we'll learn more about Harrison, by the way, tomorrow when the Bills get back to work in advance of Sunday. But the Shaq Lawson signing, crossing my feed, wasn't surprising. We talked about it yesterday. We kind of had a chuckle about it. And again, this isn't us saying that the Bills are stupid for doing this. This is the NFL. It happens everywhere. But I will listen to the person who says it feels as if the Bills have a different intention with the players they signed to their practice squad versus other guys, other teams that bring in their guys to be a part of the practice squad. I don't know that they all have the intention of, this person's going to come in and play and contribute meaningful snaps because this is our best option. I don't think your practice squad should be your best option. I think you need a healthy roster and you need some depth in case of emergency. The Bills don't have that depth, and now they're forced to dip into the practice squad, which shouldn't be an option. If your team is healthy, if your team is training properly, we've seen the Bills avoid injuries for the most part, for the better part of the last 7-8 years.
So what is it then? Are they not a little more Baltimore approach, meaning you got to work them harder when we get to Fisher, a little more calloused? Is that it?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen training camps where we hold our breath and we basically get through training camp unscathed, and then after camp breaks at Fisher, then there's like last year when there was an injury to Milano. We're like, oh my God, Milano injured himself on a tackling dummy. What the hell? We didn't get to see that. I really don't know. And part of it is luck, right? Like every team deals with injuries. Every team has them. There's varying degrees, obviously, but how you deal with them, I think, is what separates the good versus the not so good. And we keep tapping into this resource of the practice squad with a squad of guys that have been here, that we trust, that are familiar with the system, that just don't have it anymore. They're old. They're slower. Oh, that you trust them. That's great. That's an emotion. I want some physicality. I want some tangible physical ability out of the guys that you're tapping into in case of emergency, in case of an injury. there's so many unfortunate injuries, not just with the Bills, but around the NFL. I don't know. I watched the Niners last night. They're without two of their best defensive players for the season. No Nick Bosa. No Fred Warner. They're 8-4. They look good. They're going to be fine. Like, they're going to be a playoff team. That looks like a playoff team. They're dealing with injuries. Every team deals with injuries. I just don't know that you need to tap into the Shaq Lawson well to help fill those spots.
The Bills aren't alone. Just for kicks, I pulled up the Chiefs practice squad. The Bills have 4 rookies out of their 16 on the practice squad, so they've made this choice. The Chiefs have only 3. And the Chiefs have, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's on there. Hey, Dameon Pierce, they just signed him.
Yeah.
Remember Carson?
No, Dameon Pierce, I think, just signed with Houston. Oh, wait,
no.
That's different Pierce.
No, he was the running back in Houston. Now he's a Chief. Did
he go to the Chiefs? I thought I just saw that Houston signed him back to the practice squad.
He is listed on the Chiefs practice squad.
Well, that's a good pickup
now.
For them if that's accurate. That's amazing.
Yeah, Carson Steele, remember him? Like a preseason warrior for the Chiefs.
Yes.
And then Mike Edwards, that guy who came to Buffalo for a little bit and couldn't get on the field. Bills cut him, and, he's back in Kansas City. But then I look at the Bills rookies and this, the Keontae Jenkins, linebacker, maybe Latu they promoted once. Twice, actually, the tight end.
Yeah. I know it's not exclusive to the Bills. I know that the Bills aren't the only team that does this. I'm saying that their intention is different than other teams. Maybe the Chiefs have an intention of signing playing Dameon Pierce. They don't have anybody to run the football. Pacheco is going to play on Thanksgiving, by the way. But you have Pierce now as somebody that maybe gets on the field. Maybe he's an upgrade from Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt isn't young anymore. Kareem Hunt has been handling a lot of the workload for that backfield. Pierce is 25. I mean, that guy can still, I don't know what he brings to the table in terms of ability, but at least he's got youth on his side. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate that we're having a conversation like this because it all stems from the team not being healthy. It's not ideal. But you got to tell me that there's somebody out there that's better, that can get to the passer, that's better than Shaq Lawson at this stage of the game.
Well, is there a reason they're signing Shaq Lawson and signing that position, Danger? Like, are we concerned about Bosa's wrist there? Like, he came out in this club.
I mean, I'm concerned about all of them. I'm concerned about the overall health of the defensive line. Because they haven't been able to say how there have been so many injuries, whether you want to talk about Sanders or you want to talk about Oliver. Bosa's out there is a gamer. He's playing with a banged up wrist. But these guys are hurt. And you want depth? Fine. I think you can do better than Shaq Lawson at this stage. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
11 guys on injured reserve right now for the Bills.
It's tough.
I don't know if we're going to have that number again in November.
We'll take a break here. Want to come back. We heard from Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Gino, I don't know if this is something or nothing and where you come down on this. And I can tell you from my experience of dealing with the will he or won't he play with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, being that the Bears just faced the Steelers last week. I can tell you a little bit about this cat and mouse that's happening here with Mike Tomlin, the media, and his starting quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. We can get to that, plus your calls. 866-4FAN is our phone number, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger. Sports Update.
He was the Buffalo Bills' first-round pick in 2016. Defensive end Shaq Lawson back in Buffalo, signing with the practice squad today. Bills will be back at practice tomorrow, getting ready for Pittsburgh. Dan Orlovsky today on One Bills Live talking about that Steeler defense.
I don't think the Steelers defense is good enough to slow down this offense unless you give them the opportunities to dominate the game. It's a defense that has high-end players that doesn't play at a high level.
Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network will join us and talk some fantasy football coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Syracuse basketball due to tip-off right about now against number 24 Kansas. This game taking place in that tournament in Las Vegas. SU coming off an overtime loss to Houston. The Amerks are back on Wednesday and Friday night. Tomorrow night, the opponent, the Cleveland Monsters. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
And quickly before we get back to the Bills and Steelers on Sunday, last night, flipping around and I see Syracuse hanging with Houston. I mean, it's fun.
They had the ball at the end.
It's fun, right? Lots of fun watching it. My daughter walks in. She looks at the score bug, and she goes, "Dad," and then she does it's tied 67-67. 6-7.
We're not done with that yet?
No, apparently not.
No,
Apparently not. I thought we killed it around Halloween. I thought we, as the adults, being aware of it, would have read it its last rites. But it's still out there. It's still apparent when you're watching football this weekend and you see a score of 6-7. Imagine that you're going to have somebody at some point going, 6-7, 6-7. Okay. Tough one for Syracuse. They were in it, man. That was a hearty effort against a really good Houston team.
You tried. Here's a cookie.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Yeah, they could take that.
All right, but then beat Kansas today.
Right.
Yeah. We'll keep you updated. I'll give you the occasional score here. You were mentioning something about the Steelers today and Mike Tomlin, which I don't know if you knew this or not, but Mike Tomlin went to the same college as Sean McDermott. They were actually teammates at William & Mary.
Sure, we won't hear that at all this weekend. We'll get the image of them on the same team. Sean McDermott with a full head of hair. Mike Tomlin. Yeah. Mike Tomlin, I mean, look, Steeler fans have had it with Mike Tomlin. And truthfully, I think a lot of Steeler fans at this point don't really care who starts at quarterback for their team, right? Nationally, I think a lot is being made of, will Aaron Rodgers play? Is Aaron Rodgers healthy? Will Aaron Rodgers be out there? Aaron Rodgers commands a lot of attention, certainly more than Mason Rudolph. It's a sexier story if Rodgers goes out there and plays well. It doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's take the business standpoint of this. If you're CBS, does it matter at all if Aaron Rodgers is tuning in? Like that Thanksgiving Day game between Chiefs and Cowboys, holy cow.
It's going to be record-breaking.
It's going to be record-breaking because let's gather around. Oh, my
Packers-Lions could be record-breaking, too.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody late afternoon window on Sunday, this game against the Bills, I'm not watching this because it's Mason Rudolph at quarterback. Click. No, I don't think there's going to be any factor. I think we're beyond that when it comes to Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize that, but
I honestly think Rodgers playing benefits the Bills.
100%.
I think Rudolph, although he's limited, Rudolph, I think, has just a little bit more command. I don't know. There's something about Rudolph's game. And look, he wasn't great against the Bears, but I don't think Rodgers would have been great either. I think Rodgers can still make throws, but he is still very limited in his game just based on where he is at this stage of his career.
Name me a more immobile quarterback in the NFL than Aaron Rodgers today.
Right.
It's him. And if he's going to be nursing a sore wrist too or injured wrist or whatever it is.
So Tomlin telling reporters today that he is optimistic that Rodgers will be available to play Week 13 here against the Bills. If he does go, whoever's behind center will be without their tackle, Broderick Jones, without defensive tackle Derek Harmon. They're both already listed as out for Week 13. They could get back linebacker Alex Highsmith this week against the Bills.
Okay.
So there's your Steelers injury report, and we'll watch and see how that story progresses. I'm sure we'll hear the name Aaron Rodgers a time or two between now and kickoff on Sunday.
That game last night, 49ers Carolina. I was it was comical watching Brock Purdy. Like, don't throw the ball more than 15 yards downfield. You can't tell me that Carolina's this great ball hawking. I know they have Horn back there, and he made a pick, but
it was almost as if, I mean, it was Peterman-esque. It was gross.
I was thinking that they might go for the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, and that will result in 4 interceptions in the first half, which isn't quite Peterman's number.
But those were some missed throws. They were just, I mean, credit to the defense. They were in the right place, and there was one pick where it's like, I don't know where Horn came from. He just kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, they broke it down where Horn, for some reason, the Niners didn't run any receiver to that side of the field. So Horn, guarding that side of the field, knowing it's a pass play and knowing that, hey, there's no back coming out of the backfield, I know 100% that the play is going to the other side of the field. And if you're given a license there, so he completely freelanced that. He's like, I'm thinking it's going to go to Pearsall. Bam. Interception. It was a fantastic pick.
Yeah. And all that being said, even through a bad performance by Brock Purdy, the Niners get the win. They still have Christian McCaffrey. They still have George Kittle. They're still pretty good. They're third in that division, and I can't help but think that when they get to the postseason, and I think they will get to the postseason, they're going to be a problem.
Well, they do get a bye in December. That's really nice.
The Week 14 bye.
Call me crazy. And you've got your pick coming up at 4 o'clock. Did you have?
I got to do my homework. Gino, I might need you to pick me up. This is live on radio. Completely forgot. The enthusiasm of the holiday has gotten the best of me, and I have not yet made my pick.
Oh no, we're dead.
We're done.
We're dead.
If we I'll take it. I'll take the blame. If we don't advance past Week 13, blame me because I am unprepared.
Okay.
Right at this very second, I am unprepared to make a pick. Now,
so to our coworkers, that's accountability. I'm unprepared. Great. You own that we move on.
No, well, here's the thing. I'm unprepared, but I'm still going to make the pick at 4:05.
You have no choice.
We have to. We have to. So I will use the time that I have, Gino.
You're not lying. Your eyes lit up like OS.
Oh, I got so hung up in other things today, and then the debacle before we got on the air of trying to get Chris Mack on, and I completely spaced today being Tuesday because it feels like a Friday for us. All right, we're gonna regroup. We're gonna get it.
No, we can figure this out.
I know we can.
We can figure this out.
We can do it live and on the fly if we need to.
Well, the point being, if this were Browns at 49ers with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, I'm not. Even though the Niners would be home back-to-back weeks, I wouldn't hesitate. It's in Cleveland. It's going to be the last day in November. The 49ers actually lost there just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I don't like that play at all. I don't like the Niners at all against Cleveland.
It might be our play, though.
I don't know if I like that, Gene.
Well, there's not a lot else out there. This is like now that we're going to be going into the last weekend. We're going to Thanksgiving weekend. Still alive, Mike Danger in Survivor Football.
God, there's a lot on the line here. Have we taken Jacksonville yet?
No.
All right. Well, we're doing this in real time, okay? I'm looking at some lines in real time here, and I'm looking at some matchups in real time here. Some teams that we have not taken. You mentioned the Niners. They're in Cleveland. They're favored by 5.5. I mentioned the Jags. They're in Tennessee, divisional game. They're favored by 6.5. Okay? So that I give Jacksonville maybe a little bit of an advantage there. It's a divisional game, yes. They're a road team, yes. Favored by a little bit more. I mean, you got games like New Orleans and Miami. No, not interested. Miami is favored by 6 in that game, by the way.
It's going to be either rain or snow, by the way, in Cleveland on Sunday.
Don't
High
like
of
that.
38.
Don't like that either.
Oof.
The Chargers in a divisional game against the Raiders. They're favored by 9.5.
If this were Chip Kelly as your OC, I'd say no worries. But the new OC will have his...
It's Greg Olson. He's the same OC that they've had there 4 different times. They do with OCs what the Bills do with practice squad players. They just leave guys around. Hey, you want this job? Okay, you got it. 9.5 for the Chargers at home, late window Sunday afternoon. The Chargers have chargered us before in survivor pools in the past.
This would violate multiple rules. Dolphins at home giving
Against the
6
Saints,
against the Saints.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, it doesn't violate a ton of rules. It doesn't violate any rules, does it? Miami's the home team. It's non-divisional.
Miami's defense is...
They're a bad defense?
They're a bad defense.
Yeah. Probably no Alvin Kamara in this game.
Right.
The biggest spread from teams that we can still take. The Chargers are one of those teams, are they not?
The Chargers we can take, yes.
I'm just reviewing. If you've been tailing us all season, we've taken Denver week 1, Baltimore week 2, Tampa week 3, Buffalo week 4, Detroit over Cincinnati week 5, Green Bay week 6, Chicago week 7 over the Saints. Picking on the Saints a little bit. The Chiefs were week 8. We did take the Rams. We took Indianapolis. We took New England. And last week, the Seahawks in week 12.
You could look at this another way too, Danger. Which quarterback do you think is the least likely to ruin your pool? Tyler Shuck, Geno Smith, Shedeur Sanders.
It's tough. I mean, if Vegas is our guide, it's probably the Rams. If Vegas is our guide. You look at the Thanksgiving games, we can't take the early game. We took both of those teams. We're not taking Dallas to beat the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
That's silly. We took the Ravens. We're not taking the Bengals to beat the Ravens on Thanksgiving night. I mean, the Eagles are getting 7 at home against the Bears. For my own sanity, I can't do that. I mean, and plus, who knows what either of those teams are. That one feels like a stay away from me. The Niners are only 5.5 points, 5.5 point favorites on the road in what could be a weather game in Cleveland. I don't like it.
To me, going back to my point about the Niner offense and how Brock Purdy looked terrible, if he looks bad again, win or lose, that's going to be a real debate there. Do they go back to Mac Jones coming out of the bye?
Yeah, one way or the other, San Francisco has a trade chip with one of those quarterbacks. I don't know that they're going to trade Brock Purdy. It feels like he's their guy. But if you wanted to say Mac Jones is our guy, you trade Purdy to a quarterback needy team in the offseason. All right, I'm going to need a little bit of time. We're going to have to consult. I'm so disappointed in myself.
You need a drink, buddy.
I do.
You need a
I
drink.
do.
It's a holiday week.
I
here.
need to level off a little bit. This is bad.
Your fridge is gone.
Yeah. Oh, God. Take a quick break here. We'll come back.
There is a bottle of red wine. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, which you should never chill red wine. Who's putting that in there?
Who would you think would put red wine? Who do we work with that would put red wine in the fridge? Who's your bet?
Who's my bet?
My bet is it's TJ. My bet is it's TJ. TJ, probably particular, wants her red wine chilled.
That's actually leftover. We did like a digital sales seminar.
Oh, never mind. Then it's not TJ.
No, I think the woman's name is Amanda.
Amanda,
I think, she's Box Wine Mafia.
She's Box Wine Mafia, but she's never here.
But she brought in the booze that day.
Uh-huh.
And then she put away the booze. But I don't think she has the palate to know that you shouldn't put a bottle of red wine in the fridge.
Yeah, if it's been sitting in the fridge, I don't know that I can partake. I don't know that I can partake in chilled red wine.
Chilled red wine.
Not interested. We'll have to see if there's something else around here. Take a quick break. I'm going to scavenge for a pre-holiday spirit. Come back and maybe we'll have a survivor pick for week 13.
Everybody, if you're under stress, if you're having a bad day, don't be like Danger.
Well, it's just ridiculous. It's not even a bad day. We should be thankful. We're entering the thankful holiday season, and we should be thankful for everything we have.
Here's my evergreen take. Best holiday right here, and it's been completely usurped because everybody Halloween, blah 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 blah, blah fall, blah 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 blah. Oh, Christmas, November 1st. Like, wait a second.
Where'd Thanksgiving go?
Where did Thanksgiving go?
Yeah.
This is the best holiday.
I agree. It's my Super Bowl. I was up late last night prepping for the Super Bowl. I was up late last night making turkey stock and getting the fixins together. Yeah, watching the game, doing the whole thing. In the midst of all of that, coming up with a Week 13 Survivor pick slipped my mind. I'm embarrassed.
That was an ode. We got to find that.
I am embarrassed. The moment where I realized I forgot to do my friggin' job. But I will do it. We will get it done. We will consult. We will converse. We will come back. We have more, and we have time for your calls. 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to the Sports. Fan Rochester at home by asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
You can always reach out to us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. We're also on X. That's Elon's Twitter, The Fan Rochester. Yacht Rock John tweeting us, danger forgetting to make his survivor pick before sharing it on air is like Captain Obvious forgetting how the next song on the set list starts on stage. That's right. Happy Thanksgiving, gents. John, appreciate you. Appreciate your friendship. Thanks for listening, as always. Mike Leone, Rochester Americans head coach, going to stop by the sports bar at 425. We'll talk some fantasy football. Week 13 on deck. Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network will be stopping by, and we'll get his thoughts on the upcoming slate of games and matchups that you can exploit.
All right, we are bringing in the peasantry here because Danger forgot. We're doing this on the fly here.
Haven't made a decision yet.
No, so let's get your opinions. Who is our survivor pick? We'll have the official pick coming up in just a little bit. Tyler and Honeyboy. What's up, Tyler? Happy Thanksgiving, bud.
All right, man. How you doing?
Doing well, Tyler.
I think you got to go against the Bears, and it's a win-win for you. Because if the Bears win, they're legit, and if the Bears lose, you're still in the survivor.
Okay. All right. Let me pull up the rules. Well, rule number 5: hedgers are losers.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good hedge.
That's a hedge of a hedge of a hedge.
Yeah.
I don't want to put Danger in that situation.
Yeah, Tyler, you're just playing with my emotions at this point. I mean, I can't do it. I'm avoiding that game at all costs. And I don't know if either of those teams are legit. I mean, we want to believe that they're, because they're leading their division, that they're good. The Eagles blowing a 21-point loss, the Bears winning the way that they're winning seems unsustainable.
They're the NFC Bills. Tyler, thank you for the suggestion. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Larry in Penfield. What's up, Larry?
Hey, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. What's going on?
Hey, bud.
So just a little food for thought. Danger, you like to gamble a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Okay, so we all remember our bad beats, okay, right? You remember your bad beats more than your wins?
Don't make the same suggestion to Tyler. Don't tell me to go with the Bears here. You're playing with my emotions.
No. What I'm telling you is, if you remember 2 years ago, okay, San Francisco was going into Cleveland. They were a 9-point favorite.
9.
Nine times, yeah. I just needed them on the money line to win the game. They had a better team 2 years ago, I think, than they have now. And Cleveland Browns had a worse team 2 years ago than they do now. Philip freaking Walker beat the San Francisco 49ers 19-17 in Cleveland.
We're going nowhere near that game. We can't do it.
And you know what? I don't even think San Fran looked that great last night. I just think Carolina looked horrible.
Did you see Shador play, though, both you gentlemen? Because if you're just looking at the box score,
if you're just looking at the highlights, if you look at the highlights, you're saying, wow, well, look at that throw. Oh, that was a long pass to Bond. Oh, look, he threw a touch, his first touchdown pass. He gets his first win as a star. He had a horrible QBR, horrible QBR.
Philip freaking Walker. Come on, man.
2 years later, and he can't let it go. That's a bad beat.
Larry, you'll call in 10 years from now, and you'll be talking about P.J. Walker.
I'll tell you, don't take San Fran. I will.
Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you, man. I think we avoid that game. I think that's a stay away. I don't like the Niners. I don't like Cleveland.
I think you should put it under consideration.
I don't like it. I don't like it. The one that doesn't violate any rules scares me. Miami hosting New Orleans doesn't violate any rules, but it scares me because it's Miami. It's Tua. They're not a good team. New Orleans is not a good team either.
We don't want to be that scares me more than the Niners repeating history in Cleveland.
Doesn't break any rules. It's non-divisional. Miami's at home. They're a 6-point favorite. They're giving more than 5 points. I mean, it feels like that would be, if we're following the rule book, that's the pick. But I don't like that. I do not like that. We're going to have to break a rule, and it's probably the divisional rule.
If I said bad defenses are bad plays, where would you put the line, Danger, in terms of, like, if you're ranking the teams 1 through 32, what number would you say, ooh, that defense rank blah would give me pause?
Anything that's in the bottom half.
Okay, Dolphins are 25th.
Yeah, okay. Where's
Yeah.
Jacksonville?
Where's Jacksonville? That's a good question.
Jacksonville's
They're
been
17th, right in the middle.
Jacksonville's been relegated to London. Where are the Chargers?
The Chargers are 5th.
Chargers.
Ooh, that just kind of moved you off Jacksonville a little bit.
Well, I mean, if Vegas is our guide, one of our rules, Vegas is our guide. The Chargers are favored at home, not really a home field advantage, in
Right.
L.A. against the Raiders. There'll be more Raiders fans there than Charger fans, although Raiders fans have to be pretty down about this year's team. Are they still going to come out? They're probably still going to come out.
They'll
aren't
come
they?
out, but like you're kind of hate watching. You're kind of thinking, okay, good. We need to go get Mendoza or some sort of quarterback.
All right, we'll take a break, and by the time we come back from the break, we'll finalize this. We'll narrow it down to our survivor pick for Week 13. Before we go to break, do you want to take a stab at how much tickets are being sold for? The low price for a ticket to get in to see the Tennessee Titans host the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What's the lowest they would make? $10.
Boom.
Really?
On the nose.
Oh yeah.
Tickets as low as a 10 spot. You can go see the Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars in Nashville for $10 right now.
That's a playoff team potentially in Jacksonville. That's embarrassing. The league should be frowning on that. Should be buying back some
How
tickets.
is Tennessee getting a new stadium when this team is so bad? Like, this is not about the team. This is about the community, right? This is about Nashville hosting Super Bowls.
And Goodell had a comment recently. We'd like to have a Super Bowl in Nashville.
Yeah,
blah,
that's
blah,
happening.
Blah. You know, in baseball in the 70s, they called them cookie cutter stadiums, Veteran Stadium, Riverfront Stadium, Three Rivers Stadium. Like, that's what the NFL is going to be with all these dome stadiums, Danger.
All the translucent roofs.
Yes, and one in Cleveland wants one, Chicago wants one,
Yeah.
Tennessee's getting one,
Yeah.
Denver wants one. Okay, you all look the same.
Meanwhile, we'll be freezing our couillons out in Buffalo and everybody saying, "Why did we put a roof on this thing? What's wrong with us?"
Hey, it got us a Hallmark movie, buddy.
Oh, boy. Oh, we got to talk about that, too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll make our pick. We have Mike Leone joining us in the 4 o'clock hour. We have Michael F. Florio from NFL Network stopping by as well, all before 5 o'clock here on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. And in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Shaq Lawson is back in Buffalo, the 2016 first-round pick. He's only played in one game since leaving the Bills in 2023. He signs on the practice squad today. It's a showdown. Steelers and Bills, both teams need this one. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin on facing Josh Allen.
You got to be really conscious of what you do schematically in terms of how you rush him and how you support that rush with the coverage behind it. Because, again, his ability to extend plays without negativity, his ability to break you down with his legs, we've seen over the course of this season, and certainly we've seen firsthand over the course of his career some of the games that we've been in against him.
Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network. We'll talk some fantasy and Bills later this hour. Syracuse basketball right now facing Kansas. 8 minutes to go first half. Jayhawks up 23-15. Emmerich's hosting Cleveland tomorrow night. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Okay. Welcome back into the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. Full 4 o'clock hour for you with Mike Leone joining us at 4:25. We'll get an update on the Rochester Americans, who have a busy weekend coming up with a game on Wednesday and on Friday at Blue Cross Arena. Also, Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, stopping by the sports bar. Talk some fantasy here before we get to 5 o'clock and happy hour. And Gino and I call it a long holiday weekend before you return on Monday.
Yes, we'll have Steelers. Peasantry also weighing in on this that classic moment where Danger, I realized, hey, it's Tuesday, we got to make a survivor pick. And if you're watching online, it was really the fear of God.
I just realized,
oh my God.
I didn't do my job. That's on me. I completely spaced the Week 13 pick. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe the universe is telling me avoid Week 13. Like, this is not an easy pick to make.
No, but you can't defer.
Oh, I cannot.
John writing in, Danger forgetting to make his survivor picks and sharing it on air is like Captain Obvious forgetting the next song on the set list. Thank you very much, John. Chuck writing in, our buddy Greg, love how this show is all in on greatness and all in on disaster. Hey, Greg, like, we're not a podcast. Like, we are doing this live. We are the only show in Rochester that is live.
In afternoons.
Yeah. Right now.
No producer. No producer.
Nope.
No external help. No extra bot. I mean, the Dandalorian does yeoman's work for us every day in collecting the finest audio in the galaxy. But aside from that, that's you and I, Gino. So sometimes things slip through the cracks. And today, it was Week 13 for Survivor. I think we have our pick.
Ooh.
All right, so let's review.
Set the mood.
Let me set the mood. Let me get.
You could have faked it, Danger. You could have not mentioned on the air that you forgot about this.
No, we're
this
real.
I'm afraid this is gonna doom you. By the way, did we not just say the Browns line 49ers was at 5.5?
I believe so. Yeah,
it's at 5 now. Literally, it's gone. I think this is the forecast, right? Like, wait a second.
No,
the Niner went like it's gone in the other opposite. That's a sign. That's a sign.
They heard us talking about it.
They like literally. What? Pull up the rules.
All right, we got the rules for surviving advanced football. First of all, we want to avoid road teams at all costs. We want to get rid of divisional games. If we can avoid divisional games, that's a bonus. Vegas line remains our guide. You got to be taking somebody who's giving more than 5 points. Savers or losers, even at this stage of the game, if you're saying, like, I was just trying to rationalize live on the air, Miami. Maybe if I take Miami, then I can wait on taking a team like Philadelphia. Savers or losers. Take your best shot, week in, week out. Hedgers or losers. And now it goes both ways. At the beginning of the season, we say one pool, one pick. We don't like the people that have multiple picks in one pool. But also a hedge would be the emotional hedge. That was it Tyler that said you can't lose if the Bears beat the Eagles and you take the Eagles in Survivor, which, by the way, wouldn't violate the rule. They're a home team. It's not a divisional game.
That is a clear pick me on Philadelphia. But that's also hedging.
It's an emotional hedge.
You would only pick Philadelphia believing that that's the right pick. And if Danger chooses that, we're going to run him through the filter, making sure he's not hedging here.
Right. Bad defenses are bad plays.
That one I can't stress enough because the bad defense always lets another team in. And guess what? Do the Bills really have a good defense?
I like thinking that if you're in the top half of the league, from a DVOA standpoint especially, I like the DVOA metric when you're looking at that. We want to avoid taking the team that's playing at home for the second consecutive week. And we don't mind picking against the bad team week after week. We've done so with New Orleans. We've certainly done so with Tennessee through the course of the year. When you get to week 13, you start to realize some of these teams just aren't ready for prime time. And we're not trying to go for the kill shot. We're running our race. We're not looking at the rest of the pool. We're not trying to think of who everybody else is going to take. We're going to take the best pick week in and week out. So, with all that being said, as we go through the exercise live on the air, because I did not prepare this in advance. Divisional games that we want to avoid, cross them off the list. We can't take Detroit and Green Bay because we've taken both of those teams already. Oh, we should mention the teams that we've taken. If you've tailed us through this point of the season in Survivor football, we took Denver week 1 over Tennessee. Baltimore week 2, they get their early season win over the Raiders. Tampa gave us a scare in week 3, but they beat the Jets. Buffalo over the Saints in week 4. It was Detroit over Cincinnati. This is where Gene dropped out of the pool, foolishly taking Arizona.
Hey, the guy doesn't fumble at the 1-yard line. I win. I know it doesn't count.
Packers were our week 6 pick. Chicago week 7. Kansas City in week 8. We took the Rams week 9. No sweat. Indianapolis gave us a scare in overtime in Germany over the Falcons. Then we took New England. The Seahawks last week got us through week 12 and on to week 13. The Seahawks beating those Tennessee Titans. So we cross off every divisional game. As I said, we can't look at Green Bay and Detroit. We've taken both of those teams. Cincinnati, Baltimore is the Thanksgiving night game. We're not taking the Bengals on the road in a divisional game, crossing it off. Other divisional games include Jacksonville and Tennessee. Jacksonville in Tennessee and giving 6.5 points. Houston is in Indianapolis. Indy is favored by 4.5. Let me see. Vegas and the Chargers. And the Chargers are favored by almost double digits here. They are 9.5 point favorites.
Divisional game, danger.
Divisional game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Those are our divisional games. Next, when we talk about going through the checklist here, road favorites. Okay? Let's see some road favorites. We want to cross off road favorites. Then we would cross off Jacksonville. They are favored by 6.5 on the road.
Are we crossing that off?
I don't know that we can.
Well, if we were just doing the remember the Pepsi challenge, like just doing the blind kind of guessing the line here, shouldn't that be more? Like Tennessee is bad, and wait a second, Jacksonville only 6.5. I look at the over/under 41.5. So what they're saying is, okay, this is just going to be kind of an ugly football game. That's scary a little.
The Falcons are a road favorite.
No.
In New York against the Jets.
No.
And also a small favorite at 2.5.
No Kirk Cousins. Don't bet on that.
Yeah.
I can see the Jets actually winning that game.
The Bills we can't take, but they are a road favorite at 3.5 over the Steelers.
Denver you can't take.
Denver I can't take either. And we can't take New England. I mean, the choices are getting limited. I mean, we go through these exercises and there's really nothing left. Small favorites, road favorites. What does it leave us with, Gino?
Well, let's go back to this. And is there something to be said? We open the show with that line being Browns getting 5.5 at home against the Niners. And that line has slid toward Cleveland? It's got to be the weather forecast, right? It's got to be people are realizing the history. 5 points now. Not a big deal, but I think that says something that there's some money going on Cleveland's side. Cleveland's defense is nasty, Danger. That's the reason why they beat the... I flipped on this one. If I'm going to advise you, even though it's hard to imagine the Niners doing this for the second time in 3 years, even though from what I saw, and I watched a lot of that in the red zone, like, wait, this doesn't look right with Shedeur Sanders. If it's going to be a weather game, and certainly Brock Purdy didn't look great last night, you're talking about a missed field goal here, a special teams play there.
I don't like it.
No. My advice, seeing that this isn't my bid anymore, it's your bid, I would cross that one off.
I'm crossing off the Niners in Cleveland.
Good,
We're not going near that. And that line is fishy. Jacksonville, Tennessee. It's a divisional game, but Tennessee is bad. Jacksonville favored by 6.5. Should it be more? Jacksonville's a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team.
There's one glaring choice here.
There's one choice.
You have to take the Eagles. The Eagles, dude, that violates no rules. No rules. You are psyching yourself out.
They're going to be pissed off because they lost the way they lost, and I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, don't let emotion get in
I'm
there.
going with the pick for Week 13, Gino. I'm going with the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers and a top 10 defense at home against the Vegas Raiders, who just fired their offensive coordinator, who are circling the drain, who may not have Ashton Genty. Are you kidding me? You're going to run the ball with Raheem Mostert against the Chargers? It's Jim Harbaugh. It's a well-coached Charger team at minimum. I'm going to put faith in the idea that the Chargers aren't going to charger against a bad divisional opponent. A 9.5-point favorite in Inglewood. Give me the Superchargers, Gino. Give it to me. Yeah. That's your pick. Book it now. Thank us on Monday. And if it goes poorly, blame lack of preparation on my part, and I will fall on that sword. We're about accountability. I botched this, man. I'm sorry, but I'm going with the Chargers. I feel good about that.
I don't care Harbaugh is the coach, never feel good about the Chargers. Ever. Ever, ever, ever.
If they lose to the Raiders. Well, the good news for me is I won't be here. So if there's anybody angry at me, I won't be here next week.
If the Eagles win on Friday.
Oh, God.
And again, who was it? Tyler and Honeyway said, do this.
The emotional hedge.
Well, that got in your head, though, because if we're just following the rules, that's the choice.
But it's not. It's not the biggest spread on the board.
Doesn't matter. You're picking a divisional game, Danger. Not really a home game for the Chargers. Coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm. The Chargers are coming off a bye. That's good.
That's good.
That's good. We like that. The Chargers are a playoff team. Right? Chargers, Broncos.
Maybe.
Yeah. Right now, the Chiefs are still in third place in the West.
Correct. So, like, the Chargers can't afford to be slipping up against the
Right.
Raiders.
They can't give that game up. What if the Chiefs lose on Thanksgiving? We're all Cowboy fans on Thanksgiving, right?
We are.
That hurts a little bit, but I think we want the Cowboys to upset the Chiefs.
I always had it in my mind, like, let's write the script this way. Stadium in Buffalo, and here's the AFC Championship game. Last game ever at Highmark. And your Buffalo Bills hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not happening.
Yeah.
For various reasons. So, you know what? Let's just put the Chiefs away.
Beggars can't be choosers.
No.
If we're hosting the AFC Championship game somehow this year, that's a stroke of luck.
Right. That's not happening either, right?
Yeah, very unlikely. So there you go. Man, Gino, I apologize. This would never have happened if you were still in the pool. You would have had this buttoned up by Monday morning. You would have known.
I probably, because to a fault, I stick with, what are you drinking?
Oh, you didn't see me go to the
Where
cooler?
did you go?
You told me I needed one, so
Wait a second, but it's not a can. You actually found a glass.
Yeah, I found
You poured it. Okay,
Yeah.
you breathed it in.
yeah.
Oh, it's one of those seltzers.
No, this is actually an IPA, as you can tell by the color. The seltzers would not be the color, this beautiful amber that we're drinking. Yeah, you told me I needed one, and you know what? Who am I to disagree? It's a long holiday weekend in front of us, and well, your boys, I'm teetering right now, folks. I'm teetering a little bit. I'm still disappointed in myself for not being prepared to give that pick. I feel like I let everybody down. Let's hope that the Chargers win and we advance, and then we have to figure out a way that I can somehow relay my Week 14 pick to you next Tuesday.
Friday, I'm going to be calling RIT hockey, and when I don't like to look at my phone while I'm doing that. But when I get off the air, I'm going to be looking at my phone. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, the Eagles are crushing the Bears. And I will feel bad for you for multiple reasons. First, you as a friend for the Bears. And second, passing on that game.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I'm going to be out with my Bear fan friends who have convinced their teenage sons that they need to be our DDs. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to be okay. One way or the other, we're going to be okay. And it's crazy. I mean, like, it really is. Your level of happiness is based on expectation. It really is. I couldn't be happier with the Bears. I know that the way they're winning is not sustainable. I know they're probably not as good as their record indicates. But, man, they're in first place at this time of year. Nobody had that, and I'm excited about it. If you're a Bills fan, the expectations were way higher.
7-4.
It feels like it just,
weight of the world. Like, what are we doing? This is all wrong. Blah, 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 blah.
Right. And so the reality is it's never as good as it looks or as bad as it looks. It's always somewhere in the middle. And, you know, when you're talking about the Eagles, there's a bad loss against the Cowboys, but they're still the defending Super Bowl champs. Still a pretty good team. Not going to take them lightly. I don't think anybody should take them lightly. All right, we got to get to head coach Mike Leone, who can give us a recap of his team's performance here from last weekend. Up and down, really. I mean, since last we spoke, Lehigh Valley road game to Lehigh last Wednesday where they dropped 4-2. Lost to Bridgeport at home on Friday night, 5-4. But then they go on the road and get the win at Utica on Saturday. Busy weekend ahead for the team as you've got a game on Wednesday, tomorrow night at Blue Cross Arena, and then the Black Friday game against Syracuse. Both games you'll be able to hear on the Fan Rochester, your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey. So a recap of the last few games for the Amerks, preview of this weekend's action. Head coach Mike Leone joining us next on the Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
Well, breaking news in the sports bar as the Buffalo Bills have signed veteran wide receiver Brandon Cooks. This is to the 53-man roster. Shaq Lawson also back in the fold. He signs on the practice squad today. Dan Orlovsky talking about that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
I don't think the Steelers defense is good enough to slow down this offense unless you give them the opportunities to dominate the game. It's a defense that has high-end players that doesn't play at a high level.
Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network will join us today in the 4 o'clock hour. Syracuse basketball taking on Kansas. They're at the half. The Orange are down by 10. The Amherst taking on Cleveland. On Wednesday, they'll be home also Friday against Syracuse. Head coach Mike Leone joining us next in the Sports Bar. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today you can save half off the Lasertron. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Back at the point area, shot taken away again. Here's Kutar moving in a goal, scores! Kutar looking like he was going for the 5-hole, drew it across the goal mouth, around the left leg of Dawes, slips it in, and the Amherst have a 4-2 lead. What a nifty move by Kutar.
Amherst back at home tomorrow night, Black Friday at Blue Cross Arena. We welcome in head coach Mike Leone, who joins us every week at this time in your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey, the Fan Rochester. And Mike, it's good to have you back on with us. We know you're away from the team last week, so thank you for making some time for us. Hope things are going well with you and yours. And what were you able to observe while you were away from the team here as they get the win in Utica before dropping the home game there on Friday night against Bridgeport?
Yeah, you know what? It was I didn't get to watch much of the weekend. I watched the games back yesterday and today, and it was you know what? It's probably the one game Friday where we definitely, if you look back on the season, where the games where you should have got points, and that Belleville game we played at home where we had close to 50 shots, and then probably that game we deserved a better fate for sure, and just to get a point in that game. But the guys did a great job responding in Utica, with a huge road win. Now it's nice, we've had a front-loaded schedule. Just, I think we've played the most games in the American League. We've been on the road a ton, and now we have 9 games before Christmas break. So we got a nice, I don't want to say easy schedule, but we have 6 out of 9 at home, where we get to play at home this week. We got some guys back, and if you look at, over this course of how many, I think we've missed close to 80 games with guys out of our lineup, and we're right there. We're 2 points out of first place. I think overall we're really happy with where we're at now. It's really important that we finish these next 9 games, especially 6 at home, with some guys coming back, that you finish going into break the right way.
Coach, not every American Hockey League staff has a staff like yours, basically. I mean, what does it say that you were able to step away and tend to things? Well, you have 2 guys certainly capable, and they may be head coaches at some point, Nathan Page and Vinny Prospel.
Yeah, both of them are, I'm really close to both of them. We have a great working relationship. They're amazing coaches. They're amazing people. And I fully trust those guys. They did a great job. We were talking the last time. Last year I was sick in Laval, and they scored with like 20 seconds left in the game, and then Bridgeport scored with 30 seconds left in the game. I'm really glad those guys got to get a win, and they both do an incredible job. You look at our special teams this year with, our power play, I think, is top 5 in the league. Our penalty kill's top 10, and there's been a lot of pieces, as you guys know, huge parts of those, with Rosie and Oslin and Dunner probably being the best PK guy in the league, and those guys have done an incredible job. They're incredible coaches, and I'm really fortunate to have those guys.
Talk a little bit about that roster you were discussing. We've seen the Buffalo Amherst win 4 of 5, and I imagine that some of those guys, as the Sabres get a little bit healthier, come back down here for for their stint here in Rochester. Who could we be looking to see make a return here when we get back on the ice tomorrow night, Coach?
Yeah, Rosie's back in our lineup, so that's obviously he was leading the American Hockey League in points at the time, just on the power play. But I'm really proud of Rosie. You know, there's probably an argument like he played well enough to stay, but it's a business, and you get a guy like Benson back, and it's really difficult. They have to make really hard decisions. But I think for Rosie now is he believes in the future he's going to be an NHL player from the I think he had 6 points in 10 games. Really helped the power play. I thought he played his best hockey he's played in the NHL. So for him, I think the conversation now when it came down was a lot different, talking to the player, just the confidence and knowing there's one day he's going to be an NHL player. It's just the timing right now. They got guys back. But I thought he did an incredible job, helping the team out, especially in the power play through that stretch and playing really good hockey. So it's, when you get an electric player like that back in our league, back in our team, it really helps. And and also just to mention, just so many guys have, we were playing 5 East Coast players at the time, and where I think we lead the league in goals scored, which is like, if you would have told me that before, I would have thought you were, smoking something. But guys are, the Fiedler Schultz, the Kuntars. I think Kuntar has 8 goals, Jags, and just the guys Lecision have stepped up and played a huge impact of our group to get us into a spot where we're playing around, right around 600 hockey is great. Now we really got to capitalize when you do have your roster to continue to play well.
No, we don't smoke things here, Coach. We drink here on our show.
No, but you know what? If someone would have told me that we would lead the league in goals scored with, without Meyer being gone, Metza was up, Jones is up, all these guys, it just speaks to the group of the guys we got in the room to contribute.
No doubt about it. Amherst are home Wednesday and Friday this week. Head coach Mike Leone, our guest. Since we last spoke, Gorgiev no longer in the organization. Does that make your job easier now, not having to choose between 3 goalies? Certainly you have 2 guys in Levi and Leinen that you can go with.
Yeah, I think I just want to, on Georgie's behalf, Georgie was, an ultimate pro. I'm really happy. I think there's a lot of hockey left in his tank left. He's a really good goalie. He's a really good pro. I've never seen a goalie work as hard as he does day in and day out. And I think he was a really good example for, Dev and Topi, just to see what a guy at 400 starts in the NHL, not overly big or, he's a really good person, and I'm happy for him. But I think it's really good for our guys. They each get a net at practice. You get the reps. You're on more of a routine. There's not a cloud. Who's going to start? I think for both guys, it's going to be really good to get in a routine and just know when you're going to play, because it is difficult when you have 3. Everybody. We try to communicate the best we can, but happy on all parts. Happy that Georgie gets to continue to play in his home country, and then for our guys to continue to get better and develop.
Yeah, and I got to imagine that even though that was a challenge, having that log jam at the position, you now have a challenge of continuing to develop Devin Levi and Leinen into pro-level goalies where they can get that consistent shot, knowing that ultimately is their desire. And really, that's the job of you with every player on the team. But the Levi situation specifically, it feels like there's an expectation there.
Yeah, I think with Dev, I think it was really good. I think, the game in Utica where, you're on the road, they push really hard. I think we just, I don't want to say back to the Dev that we know, but I think it's just part of, being a goalie and going through it, and he's still really young. I don't know if he's hit 100 starts yet in the American Hockey League, and just finding your game, the consistency of being, because his body of work in the American Hockey League has been a 9.25, a 9, or a 2 point, whatever it is. And right now, if you look at the numbers, I think Dev knows he was on a stretch where I think if you ask him, if you ask our staff, I think we'd expect more, and it's a good thing. I think he's built up deposits in the bank where this is the standard, and he knows that he has more left in the tank. And I think personally, I think it's really good for him to go through where, quote unquote, he's not as good as what his numbers are in the past. But I think it was a great step in the right direction in Utica. You're most likely going to see him in both games this week because it's not back to back, and I think it's now for him to continue to get better. And there's been a ton of good. The first 6 games, I think he was at a 1.5 and a 9.50, and you go through stretches as a goalie. But I think it's really important for your development, and it's going to happen at the NHL level where you don't have it for a week or 2 weeks, and it's really important to find it and get to the level of consistency that you need to be at and for our team to be successful. And it was a really good. Like I said, I didn't get to watch the game live, but he made a couple of huge saves and looked really good at practice. And I'm fully expected to Dev to be really good tomorrow night.
Yeah, Levi, 8 wins on the season. That leads not just your team, it leads the entire league. Looking at the North Division standings, Coach, this is nuts. 4 teams within 2 points for the lead right now. The Amerks just 2 points back here. So, but one of those teams that's not part of the mix is Cleveland. So, a team that we haven't seen all that often. Tell us a little bit, as compared to, say, Syracuse or Utica, tell us more about the Monsters and what we can expect here in this opponent tomorrow night.
Yeah, if you look, they've played I think 6 or 7 less games than everyone else, given their NBA schedule. So they got a lot of games to make up. But they're a good team. They're probably built different than they were in the past. They were a much more, high tempo skill. Where now they have a lot of veterans. They defend really well. They don't beat themselves. They're a really good team, and it'll be a good test for our group. A lot of veteran players and good goaltending. So it's a big week for our team, and it starts tomorrow night.
Mike, the holiday, it's not lost on us that, Thanksgiving is on Thursday and you guys get that day off before getting back on the ice for Black Friday. Do you have any plans? What's your favorite dish? What's your go-to? Your Lions are hosting the Packers early on. I mean, what's your game plan here for Thursday, the day off?
Yeah, Thursday I don't have a chance to get home just because the drive's too far. I'm actually going to my uncle's place in Toronto, so I'll leave right after the game. So I'll be watching the Lions game, but I'm a big pumpkin pie guy for sure. So and then the stuffing, the cran. I like to mix everything together, kind of like a plate, like a plate of garbage. Yeah, like a garbage kind of plate. But I'm a big pumpkin pie guy. I make sure my wife even gets it when it's not in season. So great holiday. A ton of football, so excited to watch the Lions play.
I want to see this move by the pumpkin pie lovers, and I've yet to see somebody pull this off. Maybe you'll pull it off, Coach, because you just said you like to create your own plate of garbage. Your plate looks like Ian Rappaport's plate from a few years ago, where it just looks like a murder scene. But the pumpkin pie lover, maybe throw the slice of pumpkin pie on the main plate. Instead of waiting for dessert, throw it on the main plate. Man. That's a move. I think that's a move that signifies how much you actually love the pumpkin pie. It's part of the main course.
Yeah, maybe I'll send you guys a text and maybe I'll try, but I don't know if it's going to be this year.
Coach, good luck tomorrow night. Safe travels, to seeing your family on Thursday, and then we want you to beat Syracuse as well on Friday. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, enjoy your holiday. There's Coach Mike Leone joining us here in the Sports Bar. Rochester Americans back on the ice. Blue Cross Arena tomorrow night, 7:05 against Cleveland. Friday night, Syracuse comes to town. Both games here on the Fan. Rochester, your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey.
So we mentioned this in the update because it happened while we're in commercial break. Let's get to the breaking news here in the Sports Bar.
Breaking news in the Sports Bar.
Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
Your next guy up for the Buffalo Bills at wide receiver is Brandon Cooks. Yes, that is official. The Bills have signed the veteran receiver who was just released by the Saints last week. As far as I know, Danger, this is not a practice squad signing. This is a signing to the actual 53-man roster.
It almost makes too much sense. Like, if they wouldn't have done it, we would be sitting here going, like, what are you waiting for? What do you need to see? Like,
well, and I'm reading a lot of anger online, but I think some of the Bills fan base is getting like kind of saber-like, like putting their hands up in the air. Oh, like this is supposed to work. Well, it's worth a shot. And if it doesn't look right, yeah, move on. I'm wondering where this leaves Keon Coleman, Danger, because it's not an elevation. You're bringing in Cooks. He's got to take, like, you're not bringing him in to be inactive, right, for December here. Like, does Coleman actually get another shot? I thought, okay, this will be the week coming out of this quasi-bye here, the long 10-day stretch here between the Houston and the Pittsburgh games. And the honest answer is, I don't know. And Sean McDermott tomorrow is not going to tell you whether or not Keon Coleman is going to dress or not, I'm sure.
all right, we'll get more insight on the Cooks move. We'll welcome in Michael F. Florio from NFL Network. He stops by the sports bar next, and happy hour is right around the corner as well. Your reaction at 866-4326. Join us anytime, 585-866-4FAN.
No matter where you are, with the Odyssey app and the sports leader, The Fan, Rochester.
Happy hour on deck. Before we get to our final hour of the week, we get to Michael F. Florio from NFL Network. Talk some fantasy football. Week 13 on deck. Waiver wire moves. Maybe some trades you want to make before your league's deadline here. Some matchups we can exploit. But, Mike, before we get to all of that, we know you're a Bills guy. And the breaking news this afternoon, it's a move that almost makes too much sense when you consider what the Bills needed. They're getting it in Brandon Cooks, free agent signing here to the final 53 here for the Buffalo Bills. Brandon Cooks, the latest wide receiver.
Yeah, my initial reaction was, look, it does make sense, right? Brandon Cooks is a perimeter wide receiver. He is someone that has a history of being a speedster who could stretch the field. But I'd wager, do most people know that he's been active a lot this year? Probably not, because he really hasn't done a whole lot. He hasn't gone for 1,000 yards since 2021. He's been just solely a contributing piece. He's not the field stretcher. He could still help in that regard, but he's not prime Brandon Cooks. My initial reaction is this is where the Buffalo Bills are at, where they need to go numerous times in a season, hoping that someone that has been cut by another team could come and be the savior here. It's just more of the same. And look, Brandon Bean, if you're listening, and we know you might, don't make the same mistake this offseason and assume you could build a wide receiver room out of thin air, because you've had 2 chances in a row now, and you're swinging and missing like you're Adam Dunn.
What's the real story with Coleman? I mean, I thought we would have had, you're going to give him another chance in the Houston game, and they didn't. Now I'm thinking, well, and they still might give him back on the field, but Cooks wasn't signed to the practice squad. He was signed to the active 53. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be active, but that's another guy that Coleman would have to kind of go ahead. Do you think we see Coleman in any meaningful way the rest of the season, Michael?
I can not say with any certainty that we will or we won't. I hope we do, though, because as much as it's been frustrating, did anything you saw on last Thursday night inspire any sort of confidence in you? To me, it didn't. And look, I know I've bashed a lot of the Brandon Bean signings like Curtis Samuel and Dawson Knox and ones like that. But Josh Palmer got paid this offseason, man. You need to step up. The Bills desperately need someone out wide to step up, be a field stretcher, and that's what Palmer was brought in to do, right? Separate against man, separate downfield. It hasn't worked, right? They were on him like white on rice this past week. So I still think Coleman has the most upside of any of the Bills receivers. I understand it's been very frustrating on and off the field. But I don't know about you guys. I felt like he could have been a useful piece to have out there against the Texans last week. Let's not forget, last year he had a long catch and run where he broke a tackle and scored a touchdown on this team. And I think the recipe is out, right? We've seen the Falcons do it. We've seen the Texans do it now. If you could go man against the Bills wide receivers, which Houston did on 3rd and 18 because they fear absolutely nobody that the Bills could throw out there. If you could do that and you could create pressure rushing 4, that you're going to be able to stop the Bills 10 times out of 10. So maybe Coleman, I still think, is their best option at beating that coverage. I know he doesn't create a ton of separation, but just put the ball in his vicinity, and he could do more than some of the other guys just because of his size.
Another nugget from one of our favorites, Chris Trapasso, who joins us frequently here in the Sports Bar. 32 years old for Brandon Cooks, 5'10", 190 pounds, 8 of 9 in contested catch situations this season. Hasn't had a drop since 2023. So maybe those are some factors that are playing into the decision to bring in a 32-year-old wide receiver to potentially stretch the field. And I think also injuries, when you consider the Samuel injury, when you consider that you brought in Mecole Hardman and he played less than a game for you before he ended up on IR. Mike?
Yeah, no, it certainly is. But to me, it is also a very small sample size. And that's what Brandon Cooks is at this level of his career, right? He is a contributor. He is not a savior. He is not and I know the Bills are just looking for a body and stuff, but
they also need someone to step up, and no one has been willing to do so. Look, if Brandon Cooks doesn't work out, maybe they could sign Odell Beckham. Julio Jones is still out there.
Chase Claypool.
No, but yeah, in all seriousness, there's one name that hasn't been mentioned, and I don't understand why. I get it. He is a head case, and maybe they don't want to bring in another player like that, but at this point, you're desperate. Deontay Johnson has proven to be one of the best separators every year he has been in the NFL. That is what you need. He could be an X. He could be out wide. If you're kicking the can on one of these retread wide receivers who are still available this time of year, I know that off-the-field stuff has to do more with on the field as to why he's not signed, but Deontay Johnson is the best talented wide receiver out there still available.
As we're looking at the waiver wire, Michael F. Florio from the Sick Podcast. Also, you see his work on the NFL Network talking fantasy here. Are we trusting Devin Neal here if you really need a running back, knowing that Alvin Kamara, and I guess we have to get the official word if Kamara is out, Neal or somebody else? Who are the top waiver wire targets we're looking at here tonight, Mike?
Neal for me is more of a deeper, like if you're a little bit desperate, and with no buys this week, I would be, look, he had 7 targets last week, which is encouraging. But you know who led that team in carries? Taysom Hill. And you could play him at tight end. It is a really good matchup. To me, Neal is more of a deeper option if you're a little bit desperate or something like that, or you're in a deep league, you're banged up by injuries there. But if Trey Benson is out there, to me, he is the top waiver wire running back this week. Emmanuel Wilson wasn't picked up he was picked up last week, but he's still out there in some leagues. If Jacobs is out, he's in play. Kyle Monangai played over DeAndre Swift this week, and I don't think that's been talked about enough. So he is someone that I'm very interested in adding. And then the Chiefs running backs, Pacheco is coming back. He was dropped in a good amount of leagues. Kareem Hunt is always picked up and dropped. And then lastly, I'll mention Chris Rodriguez from a running back position. But most of these, outside of like Benson, if he plays, maybe Monangai and Wilson and Jacobs sits, these are more depth pieces. There's no buys this week. So ideally, you don't have to go this deep to find a starter.
Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, talking Week 13 fantasy football in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. On Sunday afternoon, we'll get the Chargers hosting the Raiders, and I'm curious if you have any insight on the Ashton Genty ankle injury that was sustained late in that game. And this change in offense, it's Greg Olsen again running the offense for the Raiders. Does that mean anything? If Genty suits up, are you willing to say, well, let's give Raheem Mostert a crack as a what-the-heck flex?
If Genty sits, I think Mostert is the one I would trust the most from there, but he's a lot like those other guys. Like I have Genty in one league, and my backup plan if he sits is R.J. Harvey. Like I'd much rather go that way than Raheem Mostert because Genty has struggled at times as a runner behind his terrible Vegas O-line. So what is a way past his prime Mostert going to do? To me, it's more of a deeper volume play. I don't have any insights on Genty's injury, but I know Pete Carroll spoke yesterday to the media, and he was saying that he doesn't expect it to be a serious long-term thing. The hope is that he plays this week. If he doesn't, I don't anticipate it being too much longer than that. And the thing with Olsen, it's his third tenure now as the Raiders OC. They just keep going back to him. But I don't expect much to change, right? Like, if they handed one of us the OC job here, you're going to look at it and be like, yeah, let's build it around Genty and Bowers. And that's what they've already been doing. So I expect those two, maybe the way they're utilized a little bit changes, but I expect them to continue to just be force-fed. And what I really like is Genty is getting more and more usage as a pass catcher. He had 8 targets last week. That makes him a must-play running back, even if he struggles on the ground, because that's in PPR. That's 7 for 8 free points right there.
Mike, appreciate your time here on a short week. It's a short week for all of us, right? Because, hey, we get to enjoy family and football and food on Thursday, and then we've got to make a quick decision when it comes to playing some of these guys. The guy that I'm really curious to get your thoughts about, Pacheco in Kansas City, if he is given the green light, if we see he's active, is that one we want to just kind of plug and play? Because earlier in the season, Dallas's defense, hey, play everybody against them. And it looks like a totally different defense. So your thoughts on Pacheco and the Chiefs going up against a different Dallas defense right now?
Yeah, I would not view him as a plug-and-play. Like, I have him on a 14-team league, and sure, there I'll throw him in. But the thing with Pacheco, and it's very frustrating, Kareem Hunt is a very effective goal line runner. The Kareem bunt is one of the highest EPA players in the league, believe it or not. So I don't expect him to suddenly come back and get those goal line touches. And then you have to worry about Rashard Smith stealing away a lot of those targets. And on top of all of that, like you were saying, the Cowboys the last couple of weeks haven't been this. I know it's been favorable matchups, but they haven't been the gimme that they were early in the year. Quinnen Williams really stirring up a lot on that D line. So Pacheco is someone I'm looking to add because, like I was saying, he's still like 50% available on NFL.com league. So if he's out there, I think you add him. But I'm not looking to just throw him in my lineup because the targets and the touchdowns, if they don't go his way, he is then just a floor play.
Guys that have been out for a long time that will be likely making their return here week 13, Mike, I wanted to get your projections on Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow on Thursday night in Baltimore and also free Bucky Irving. Are we going to see Bucky Irving for the Buccaneers hosting the Cardinals on Sunday afternoon?
Joe Burrow seems like he is definitely – like he's playing Thursday night. And I have him as a start, early peek behind the curtain, in stardom, sit-em. The Ravens have been better defensively, but when you dive into it, they're still allowing a ton of passing yards. They just allow fewer passing touchdowns. But Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that duo, they could still get in against anyone. Last year in 2 games against the Ravens, Burrow threw for 820 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'm playing him unless you have a slam dunk option at quarterback that you've been riding with in his absence. And then Bucky, it's trending like this is going to be the week we see him. I don't have Bucky on a ton of my teams. I do have him on a team, and in that league, I would probably throw him back out there. I don't have another he would be my flex play. I don't have a third running back that I love more than him. But one who else might be back this week, Omarion Hampton for the Chargers. And if he is back, it's against the Raiders in a really favorable matchup. I think I would take the chance on Hampton before I would Irving this week.
Sounds crazy. Then I'm going to ask you a question about an offense that doesn't look right. An offense for a team that's won 9 straight games, but in New England, and I've taken in some of their media, their red zone, their running game, it's a little off here. So you're like the stand here for Travion Henderson, right? and they played this cupcake schedule, and they get the Giants on Monday night, but that doesn't look right to me, the running attack. And then the last 2 games, Henderson, okay, after a big game against Tampa, nothing really to write home about against the Jets, not much against Cincinnati. He did score twice, or a few times, 3 times against the Jets, I should say. But in terms of yardage, what are your thoughts here about the running game for the New England Patriots here, as we got to wait till Monday night to see this team?
Yeah, no surprise here, guys. I think you continue to ride with Travion Henderson. Last week, outside of those goal line carries, was about – I know the production wasn't what we wanted for fantasy, but usage-wise, it was about as good as you could have hoped for with Travion. He played over 60% of the snaps. He handled the bulk of carries and routes there. In fact, there was 7 non-Travion Henderson running back carries for the Patriots this week. They went for 5 yards. And I know some of them were goal line carries. Yeah, it was frustrating for me to watch Stevenson get stuffed time and time again, and then Jennings get stuffed. But when you know who's getting them down to the 1-yard line? Travion. And you know who the last 2 weeks in a row now has looked like their best goal line runner? To me, it's Travion. And I think Vrabel has been slow to kind of take everything away from Ramondre Stevenson, but we've already seen him give the bulk of work to him. I think the goal line carries, I won't say he'll have 100% of them moving forward, but I do think we see him more and more utilized. And then on top of that, the Giants are terrible against the run. They've allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to the position, most rushing yards. They allow explosive runs at the highest rate, which is big for Travion. So I think Stevenson is just a handcuff at this point, but on Monday night, I am playing Travion Henderson in all the leagues I have him, which, as you can imagine, is quite a few.
All right, projection on the game that we've been talking about all week, Mike. The Bills going to the Steelers. Not sure if it'll be Aaron Rodgers or not for Pittsburgh. We kind of know what we're going to see out of Buffalo. What's your take on this matchup here in the late window on Sunday afternoon?
I expect the Bills to go in there and handle business. And I thought they would win last week, but I thought it would be like a fight. This is one. Look, the Steelers, they have T.J. Watt, but besides him, they struggle to get after the quarterback. They're nothing like what Houston was last week. Their secondary has been getting torched by wide receivers all year long, and they've allowed the most yak to wide receivers and specifically to slot receivers. Just dial Shakir's number as much as you can. James Cook should be able to have a day against them. The defense, I don't know what we're going to get because the second half last week was good. The first half was atrocious against a backup quarterback. But either way, the Steelers struggle to create anything downfield, and their whole offense outside of DK is built on tight ends. That is the one position that the Bills have done a really good job of limiting this week. So if the Bills lose this game, I am panicking. I don't know if they make the playoffs, all of that. But I think they win this week. They get the ship back on track.
So Thanksgiving, are you able to sneak back home to New York? Are you out in California? Tell us about your plans here this week, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out here in California because got some shows on Wednesday, then over the weekend. But Friday's also my wife's birthday, so we're gonna be doing that up big. I cannot tell you how much food I'm going to eat between her birthday and Thanksgiving in these next 3 days. So I get a couple of days off from work, though. Very excited about that. Watch some football and everything. How about you guys? I hope you guys are doing something fun.
Well, I was gonna say one of your colleagues at NFL Network this time of year always pops into my feed, always pops into my mind because I can't get the image of Ian Rappaport's disgusting Thanksgiving plate from a few years ago out of my mind. It's epic. It's legendary. I don't know how that man ate that plate, but it's what I think about every year around this time when we're talking about, you know, what we're preparing, what we're throwing down. Of course we're going to throw down big, but the way Rappaport presented it, nobody can top that.
Hey, I think you guys should have to try this year, right, to see how much food you could fit on your plate at one time.
I think he used, I want to say like cream spinach was like drizzled over the top of everything. It looked like a murder scene. It was terrible.
You know, but in fairness to Rappaport, the last time he came through, we had him on the show live at Fisher one, and he wanted to know about the garbage plate. We told him, and he went on his own and he posted the picture. I'm sure he crushed it.
Yeah,
but that's his whole thing. He eats one meal a day, and that's how he keeps his figure. Mike, happy Thanksgiving. Always appreciate your insight. We'll check out the Sick Podcast and look for your work here on NFL Network. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all the listeners, and go Bills.
There he is, Michael F. Florio. Great guy. I'm just flipping through the other day, and NFL Network there's Florio just, chewing the fat, giving his projections. And when you talk fantasy football, Florio knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. So there you go, your Week 13 waiver wire projections, some matchups you can exploit, a little insight on the Bills and the Steelers.
Not excited about Cooks.
Not excited about Cooks. No. In fact, just taking a quick temperature, I don't think a lot of people are excited about Cooks.
No.
I equated to kind of what they did at the trade deadline last year. I wasn't that excited about Amari Cooper at that stage of his career. And what can you get out of a guy at that stage of his career? A touchdown, maybe two. If you get that out of Cooks, then I'd say, well, no risk, no loss.
In fairness, like Cooper, the previous playoff run with Flacco tossed him, he had like a game of 200 yards. Like Cooks hasn't been anywhere near that neighborhood.
No, but could you get him for a touchdown? Could he fill the Curtis Samuel role while he's out?
This is begging for like more shifting in that room, right? You don't bring him in and not make a corresponding move, right? Somebody's got to sit. Unless you're not going to promote Gabe Davis at this point.
That's interesting too, right? You have one more promotion for him?
Right. Or what does this mean for number 0?
And Keon. Interesting stuff. We'll react to it. We'll take your reactions to it at 866-4326. Brandon Cooks, signed by the Buffalo Bills, 585-866-4FAM. Before we get to happy hour, who's hot and who's cold in fantasy football?
Yeah, this guy, Danger, like he's gone for over 100 yards the last 2 games. He's got a tasty matchup. Play Devin Achane against, like they have nothing else there in that backfield. So Dolphins, gross team, play them. This pains me, though, who's cold right now. It's worth not only just kind of burying this guy in your roster, maybe you cut him all together if you got another option. November 2nd, 38 yards. November 9th, 30 yards. 28 against that Dolphin defense. Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Oh, Bill.
He has lost his job.
Well, I think the problem with Bill is he's better when Jaden Daniels is behind center. I think any running back in that offense is better when you've got the threat of Jaden Daniels behind center. Without Jaden Daniels, then, yeah, you focus in on stopping the run, and Bill Krosky-Merritt or whoever you put back there is going to be hamstrung by that. Good, I like that.
But, yeah, Chris Rodriguez is the guy to pick up. He is now listed ahead of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in Washington.
Okay. Who's hot and who's cold in fantasy football? It's brought to you by...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, I got it. We're okay. It's brought to you by Heat and Cool. Heat and Cool. That's cool with a K. Why a K? Because it's cool.
Get that one for free.
We'll do a make good. Happy hour next. Stay at the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia, the Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with WBF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
After clearing waivers on Saturday, today, the Buffalo Bills signed a 12-year veteran wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Originally a first-round pick of the Saints in the year 2014, he has over 9,600 yards. The Bills also, today, signing Shaq Lawson back to the practice squad. Lawson, a 2016 first-round pick of Buffalo. Meanwhile, Bills getting ready for the Steelers. Practice is tomorrow. Head coach Mike Tomlin talking about Josh Allen.
You got to be really conscious of what you do schematically in terms of how you rush him and how you support that rush with the coverage behind it. Because again, his ability to extend plays without negativity, his ability to break you down with his legs. We've seen over the course of this season, and certainly we've seen firsthand over the course of his career, some of the games that we've been in against him.
Syracuse basketball keeping it close. They trail 7 minutes to go, 52-47 to Kansas. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It is happy hour in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. I never like the person who says it's my Friday. But, Gene, it's my Friday. It's your Friday. We got a long holiday weekend in front of us.
We have to be strategic about when we take time off. And I'm going to guess there's more than one person that's not going to be working tomorrow, or even if you are working, you might cut out a little early. So, I mean, we see the numbers Wednesday before a Thanksgiving holiday, so we'll be back. Check that. I'll be back with you on Monday, as Danger is going to be somewhere on assignment.
On assignment on Monday, all week next week. So, Gino and Terrible Take Timmy.
Wish me luck with Terrible
By the way, Terrible Take Timmy, every time now Terrence Johnson fails to make a play, I'm reminded of Terrible Take Timmy.
I know. He is average.
He's just average. He's just a guy. He was good for a moment, and now his age is starting to show, and Terrible Takes Timmy is less of a terrible take. Terrence Johnson is kind of just a guy at this point of his career. He'll be in with Gino all next week here in the sports bar. And while we have a moment, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. It's a great holiday. It's a great time of year. I don't like that it gets kind of bypassed and sandwiched between big Halloween and big Christmas. But
yeah, every other ad is big Christmas already. Like, hey, we'll get to that. Like there's time. But no, I am. It is my favorite holiday for various reasons, Danger, and hopefully everybody gets a little time with family and friends and just kind of enjoys this. Maybe you're going to go to the Amherst game. You got two choices, Wednesday or Friday night. Maybe you're going to watch some football here this week. Boy, Thanksgiving. Is this the best slate of action we've ever seen on a Thanksgiving day?
It's going to crush. It's going to absolutely crush.
Like Green Bay, Detroit.
Going to crush.
Yeah.
Great game to start us off. Then you have Kansas City, Dallas. I mean, eyeballs are on that. Everybody's paying attention. And then you follow it up with the return of Joe Burrow, which, that I think matters. It wouldn't have been as exciting if it was, well, I guess Joe Flacco playing against the Ravens would have been something sentimental, but
from a Bills standpoint, who do you want to win the AFC North? And follow me on this. Because you would think, I would like the chances of the Bills going into Pittsburgh if the Bills ended up with a 5. Would we like the Bills the chances going into Baltimore as a 4-5 matchup? Part of me is pulling for the Bengals here, Danger. I don't like. I know the Ravens have had all the challenges in the world, but I don't want to press my luck with that team.
I think the Ravens remain a little inconsistent. I don't know that they have it all figured out. I think they're good and they're winning games, and they might win that division because I don't think Pittsburgh is going to. I think Pittsburgh is doing what Pittsburgh does every year. The wheels are falling off a little bit.
If the Bills lose to the Steelers, is that a worse loss than Houston on a short week?
Yes. I think Houston's a better team than the Steelers. I think the Steelers have a few star players.
Davis Mills.
Yeah. I think the Steelers have a few star players who don't play up to their expectation. Orlovsky said it earlier on One Bills Live, and I think he's absolutely right.
I don't think the Steelers defense is good enough to slow down this offense unless you give them the opportunities to dominate the game. It's a defense that has high-end players that doesn't play at a high level.
High-end players that don't play at a high level.
That's not good. You trade for Jalen Ramsey. He's playing at safety, and all right.
Kind of a mess. So we know that there is a new Buffalo Bill joining the team, added to the roster today, signed to the 53-man roster, claimed as a free agent. It is wide receiver Brandon Cooks. For all the huffing and puffing Brandon Beane did about and his confidence about the wide receiver position in the offseason, his insecurities are showing a little bit with that bravado, that false bravado.
Well, if we just took it from the standpoint of this isn't anything new, like Quinton Cephas, Chase Claypool, bring all the guys that came through. It's like
MVS.
Yeah. Like all the, hey, that guy. Like when you're watching some sort of TV show or a movie, like, wait, where do I know that guy from? That's the Bills wide receiver room. Yeah, Elijah Moore, you were with the Jets. Yeah, that guy. Oh, Cook's that guy who played with Brady. We're at that guy.
We haven't been able to replace the production of that weirdo Mac Hollins.
Well, that's the whole point, that Mac Hollins was part of that schmozzle, if you will. Let's throw all this ass up against the wall, and Claypool and Cephas and MVS. Oh, Mac Hollins stayed. Hey, we like him. Hey, he led the team in receiving touchdowns. It's too late for any of that. You're just hoping that can he make just a few plays here, Cooks?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And when you kind of see how this all played out with the Bills making a play reportedly for a Jalen Waddle or trying to get a wide receiver at the trade deadline, you had to imagine that there was some communication, or there was some way of them knowing that Cooks is going to be available. He's not going to stick on that roster. So at minimum, you're ending up with Brandon Cooks if you're the Buffalo Bills. If you're willing to go and get him and he's a free agent, that's your guy. Go get him. Now, I don't know that we have contract terms or anything like that. I don't know that we've heard any of those reports.
Yeah.
But, I view it kind of similar to how I thought of the Amari Cooper trade last year when they traded for Cooper. They gave him a third for Cooper, right? Like that was... We can say the Browns won that trade. I mean, I think what they got out of Cooper was not third-round value.
Well, it also gave you the, hey, this is an area of need, and we're going to kind of go for it. Kind of like how the Bills once upon a time gave a third-round pick for Kelvin Benjamin. Remember that? He didn't do anything, but the team ended up making the playoffs. So there's something to be said there. Cook's just a few hundred yards away from getting to 10,000 for his career, which... He's not a Hall of Famer, not by any stretch. I think the fascinating part here is, what does this mean in terms of Keon Coleman? Because Cooks and Coleman, not the same receiver, one with great experience, one who's yet to get their career going, one that should be a slot but not in the slot, one guy who you want to send go deep. What's the real story with Keon Coleman? I keep coming back to this. If it were just a, hey, you missed practice on Friday, and we don't do that again. If it was just that, he would be active, and the Bills would be welcoming back in like the little brother who kind of. But to me, Danger, I have no insight on this, no inside source, I should say, but my just gut feeling is there's just more to the story here with Keon Coleman.
My gut feeling is they hate him. My gut feeling is they're not a fan of Keon Coleman, that they have fallen out of love with Keon Coleman, that their patience is gone and he is not an option. I remember when we found out that he was going to be inactive, and you said on this show, and I remember when you said it, I thought, you're crazy. There's no way that you think he wasn't going to play for the rest of the season. Like, he's going to be inactive the rest of the year. And I'm like, come on, he's a second-round pick. There's no way after the first suspension, after his first inactive game. And now I'm kind of like leaning towards your initial thought, like, oh, no, they really don't like this guy. This guy really doesn't provide their offense with what they need, and Brandon Cooks is potentially a better option on the outside than Keon Coleman. Now, Trapasso pointing out he hasn't had a drop since 2023. All right, that might be valuable, right? Like Coleman has been a little clumsy with the football. Yeah, and he's done well as far as contested catches. I want to say 8 of 9 contested catches this season, according to Trapasso. Okay. Again, that's something that you would expect a Keon Coleman to thrive in. So if you're just looking at those two metrics, then the Bills have upgraded with Brandon Cooks, even at this advanced stage, even with a less than stellar stat line than what we've come to know out of Brandon Cooks through his career.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten 1,000 yards since when he was with the Texans. That was back in 21. Is he better than Elijah Moore at this point? Is he better than Curtis Samuel? I want to talk about whiffs. I mean, like, you
terrible
can't
deal.
Yeah, terrible deal.
Terrible deal. Hate that deal. Don't like the Dawson Knox deal. I mean, you've got some bad deals now that you can look at through the course of this year and based on what we've seen. Like, what? Bad deal. The Josh Palmer deal ain't looking great. Ain't looking great. You expect a little bit more out of Josh Palmer, given what you invested in him.
Well, if we're looking at history here, you brought up the Cooper deal. And I remember Cooper because the trade happened on a Tuesday, today being a Tuesday. And Cooper gets in his car, drives from Cleveland to Buffalo. And how many times have we all made that drive? Kind of boring, right? Gets to Buffalo. The security doesn't know who he is. He plays against the Titans, and he scores a touchdown in that game. So we know that the Bills aren't afraid to put in somebody. Is Josh Allen going to put in the work with Brandon Cooks like he did? Like the story as it goes, that Wednesday night, both of them stayed late here. Like it's go time if you're this Bills offense. You have to roll up your sleeves, okay? You haven't been getting this done, so try something new. For everybody online that is pissing on this move, were you happy with what you saw with the receivers in Houston? I wasn't. What is the harm of trying something new? And if Cooks goes out there and it's slow and he's not separating, you move off of it. Yeah. This isn't a big money deal.
I just thought, and we've talked about it, the moment he was out there, I think we said, like, any interest? I'm like, it doesn't do anything for me, but it does make sense. If you really believe you need a wide receiver, then if that guy's out there, you go get him. And the Bills are the team to go get him. And they are certainly a more wide receiver desperate team than a lot of other teams in the NFL.
He doesn't return. He hasn't returned since 2016.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like you have Shakir back there, and not that Shakir is a liability back there. He's not great back there.
No, but I want him rested for 1st and 10.
That's right.
That's the whole idea why you don't want one of your top receivers return.
Codrington's back on the practice squad, right?
He is. You could elevate him, which that's kind of mysterious, right? Like you brought in this one-trick pony, and that's his one trick, which he could be pretty good, and then they never used him.
Yeah, and Mecole Hardman on IR puts a wrench in the works as well. Yeah, Cooks, that was a thought that popped into my head. Like, I wonder if he'll return, but if he hasn't done it in a while, he probably ain't going back to doing it. Unless that was a condition of him signing, hey, you're going to be returning kicks for us as well. Get back there, kid.
I can't imagine somebody hasn't done it in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like to try it now, no.
And certainly not as fast as he was 10 years ago either. So that's the big news from this afternoon here. The Bills get back to work tomorrow.
And they brought back Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, I mean, we led with that at 3, and it's just comical to me. But it's not exclusive to the Bills. This is a league-wide thing where you see guys bring back players that they're familiar with, players that they have a history with, players that they trust, irregardless of how old they are or how little they've played. Shaq Lawson hasn't played in a year and a half. Yet he's on the practice squad. And it's fair to wonder, because the Bills have done this with pretty much every veteran that they brought on the practice squad, when we'll see Shaq Lawson on the field. I think he's getting a jersey. I think he'll get out there at some point. I don't know when, but at some point, I think Shaq Lawson is out there for the Bills defense, which then I would just say, we can't do better? We can't find somebody younger, somebody more athletic, somebody with more gas in the tank? But trust. Got to trust.
I won't give you the answer now. Think about this.
Okay.
It's a fun trivia question. So Brandon Cooks Here's a fun fact. He's only one of 2 guys in NFL history to have a 1,000-yard season with 4 different teams.
Okay.
So think about that.
We're going to come up with the other one?
Oh, I know the other one. Yep, you need to come up with the other one.
Okay.
If you want to call in, you don't get a prize. All right, but that's you could tweet at us as well at the Fan Rochester.
Poverty show. We can do a trivia question. You don't win a prize if you call in and guess.
We don't even have a producer.
Let's get to a round of shots, Gino.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything here as we're heading into the holiday here. As we do have some baseball. Red Sox fans. Interesting move today. Add a lot to the payroll here. Let's see if this works out or if this is going to be a big bust. We have some NBA news here. Who's the surprise team? And, yes, college basketball. We'll get you updated on Syracuse and I think Dan Hurley. I didn't have time to pull this quote. It could be a take of the year nominee, but we don't have the audio for good reasons. There's a few F-bombs here, so.
Okay, a round of shots on the way, and don't forget about last call. You can have the final word in the sports bar when you join us at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326.
You're listening to the Sports talk from Maggie and Perloff in the morning to the sports bar in the afternoon. Takes that hit different. The Fan Rochester. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Bills trying something different at wide receiver. Today they signed wide receiver Brandon Cooks, a 12-year veteran. Cooks released by the Saints just last week. It was the Bills' first-round pick in 2016. Defensive end Shaq Lawson is back in Buffalo. Lawson today signing on the practice squad. Bills and Steelers coming up this Sunday. Dan Orlovsky today on One Bills Live on the Steeler defense.
I don't think the Steelers defense is good enough to slow down this offense unless you give them the opportunities to dominate the game. It's a defense that has high-end players that doesn't play at a high level.
Syracuse basketball doing their best to hang in there, but time is running out. 147 remaining, 65-55, Kansas leading. The Amerks hosting Cleveland tomorrow night, Syracuse on Friday. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Listen to 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
Well, unlike yours truly, who forgot to prepare a Week 13 Survivor pick earlier in the sports bar, Gino has prepared for us in the sports bar a round of shots as happy hour continues.
But first, let me deliver on the payoff. So the trivia question was this. So the Bills today, as we've been talking about, Brandon Cooks is the new wide receiver in Buffalo. Cooks, a distinguished career, but you think about him bouncing around from the Saints to the Patriots. He was at the Texans. In his career, he's one of only two players in NFL history to have a 1,000-yard season with 4 different franchises. So I put the question to you, Mike Danger. Do you have a guess on who the other guy is?
I start at the top and I say Jerry Rice.
Rice played with the Niners and the Seahawks, and that's it.
Raiders.
And the Raiders. So who would be
Was
the
there
fourth?
a fourth team?
No.
There wasn't a fourth team?
No.
Damn. Give me a hint.
One of those teams was your team.
Oh, the Bears. Okay. Played for 4 different teams, 1,000 yards for each. I mean, Chase Claypool, obviously, since we're bringing him up. No, not Chase Claypool.
Oh, as soon as I say this, you're going to be
Brandon
like,
Marshall.
Yes. Brandon Marshall with the Bears, the Dolphins, the
Jets,
and the Broncos.
Yeah.
Just he really bounced around toward the end of his career. I mean, but at one point, he was one of the top receivers in the game.
Funny, I always thought, like, okay, that guy can't do anything without Jay Cutler throwing him the football. But then he had those years with the Jets. I'm like, wow, Brandon Marshall can play. He was a bit of a head case, but really talented on the football field.
14 touchdowns with the Jets in 2015.
Yeah.
That was Fitzpatrick throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
That was Fitz to, Marshall.
He was quarterback proof. I always thought, it's just him and Cutler. Those two they're attached to the hip. There's no and the reports out of Chicago when those two were on the team is that they were the only two. They only talked to each other. Like Cutler only spoke to Marshall, and Marshall was maybe a little bit more open with other teammates, but Cutler was just a bad teammate.
And I think Marshall was one of the first to talk about mental health too.
Oh,
like that was way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Like nobody was talking about that.
Yeah, he
stuff.
struggled. He had some struggles for sure. So, but man, one hell of a player. Thanks for that hint. I would have probably never come up with Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall, yeah, good career, but not quite Hall of Fame worthy. And we're only bringing that up because Brandon Cook's in that same category. Hey, it's a cold Tuesday afternoon, November. Let's talk baseball, should we? And before we get to the next baseball season, we're going to have the World Baseball Classic. They don't do this every 4 years. They do it every 3. And from what I recall 3 years ago, it was one of those, I don't really care. And then when it was on, I'm like, oh. Okay, and it turned me around at the end. The sport does get a huge boost this time around as well because Shohei Ohtani has agreed to once again play for Team Japan. It was Ohtani who struck out then Angels teammate Mike Trout to win the 2023 Classic.
Because Mike Trout's not a winner.
Team USA has already received commitments from Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Paul Skeens will be playing. I've yet to hear of any invite, though, from Mike Trout.
It's because he's not a winner. Gene, I told you. And if you listen to me, I would tell you that Mike Walleye is not a winner. He's just there for the money. He doesn't really know what he's doing out there. He's got a great stat line, but if you were a nice person, maybe you would let it go. And I'm also excited to see what Shomi Oblani is going to do when he's with Team Japan as well.
So you reported on this baseball writer that Ohtani was going to sign with Team Japan. Did you have to pay the agent to get the info there?
That's just, I'm never coming on this show again. I can't believe you would think that question my credibility. I know you don't know anything about journalism, but this whole thing has been a disaster. I'm never coming on the Fan Raw Utica ever again.
More hot stove talking baseball. The Red Sox spent a little money today picking up 36-year-old starter Sonny Gray from St. Louis. Gray went 14-8, 4.28 ERA last season, not missing a start for the Cardinals. Here's the catch. He's due $35 million this season, so Boston ponying up today.
Okay.
Talk about a story that is made for your favorite true crime podcast. Follow me on this. So there's a team that's competing, and they might win the whole state championship in Virginia. Union, okay, is the name of the high school, right? So far, a perfect 12-0. It was last Thursday that their head coach, Travis Turner, was reported missing.
Jeez.
The team played the game this past Saturday with the coach missing. Now, they're 12-0 on the season. They won 12-0, coincidentally. Sunday, the authorities in Virginia declared Turner a missing person, which,
my God,
this is the stuff that your wife's favorite true crime podcast is going to dive into. Police were sent to Turner's residence on Thursday as part of an unrelated investigation, but Turner wasn't there. Police said they didn't go to Turner's house to arrest him. That same day, the school district placed another employee on administrative leave. That employee has not been charged nor has been identified.
So, this is just so fishy. So the district moves off of another employee. There's no word on why that person has been This
is what school districts do, right? They can't fire you. You're on leave. This is like, you think your HR department is slow, your local school district is slow.
And they're not identifying who that was that they let go, but it's not coincidental that they let him go.
On the same day the coach went missing. So what is this all about? Meanwhile, you have these kids that are good enough to compete for a state championship.
What a mess. Hopefully this does not end in some sort of tragedy, but you can't feel good about a guy that's been missing since what? Thursday?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Tonight on NBC, I know, Danger, you're excited. An NBA Cup matchup.
I can't wait to see the colorful floors. That's really what you're tuning in for, the colorful floors.
That's it. On NBC tonight. Entering the season, wide open East. Hey, Orlando, darling pick. Orlando hasn't done anything so far. They're 10-8. The team that has stepped forward in the East, Detroit. The Pistons have now won 13 straight. They sit alone at the top of the conference at 15-2. Rochester native Isaiah Stewart averaging 10 points and 2 blocks a game. 5 p.m. tip tomorrow. The Pistons in Boston.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not down on Orlando. I know it's a slow start, but I think that's a good team. Detroit is a nice surprise. They've got some talent on that team.
Detroit gave the Knicks kind of a tussle their first round. I'm thinking, all right, maybe that's something. But, boy, they've
well, if you're the Knicks, though, and you had the run that you had last year, and it was fun, and it was exciting, and it fell short, knowing it's as wide open as it is this year in the East, wouldn't it just be so Knicksian for Detroit to be the team and not the Knicks to rise up and take claim of the Eastern Conference this year in a down year?
That would be it. Like the Knicks kind of go in, they're lollygagging, they're the third or the fourth seed. Whoever comes out of the East, this feels. Why does the NBA have this problem? Like over not years, decades. Like okay, so all the good teams are out west, seemingly so. But maybe Detroit's a good team. I don't know. Finally, from college basketball, forgotten guy in sports is UConn head coach Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley, 2 national championships. Remember, he flirted with the Lakers. The team was off the mark last year, but maybe UConn basketball is back, especially when you hear about the preparation that is going into this week. So UConn off now. They play in one of these holiday tournaments beginning Friday at MSG against a ranked Illinois team. But he's not allowing his guys to have turkey on Thursday. Quote, we're not going to eat the effing tryptophan on Thursday and be sluggish as S on Friday. So we're going to eat tryptophan, turkey, and everything on Wednesday so that the tryptophan is out of our system by the time we get to MSG.
There you go. Well, wow. Nutritionist Dan Hurley. This is really dialed in. Thanksgiving on Wednesday. Friendsgiving. You have that early in the week, and then Thursday you train as normal, and Friday you go out there and try to beat a ranked team. Yeah, UConn fans get real quiet, real fast, real loud when they're winning back-to-back titles, and Hurley is the man. And real quiet last year from UConn. Not a lot of noise.
Final seconds winding down. Syracuse is going to lose their second straight. Now you could say, hey, they took the number 3 team in the nation last night.
Good for you.
How many missed free throws did they have last night? 17. 17. And if you haven't watched Syracuse basketball, okay, watch William Kyle, okay? William Kyle, he shoots free throws like a child. It's like a set shot from the 1950s. And the airball won today against Kansas. That just went final, by the way.
Hit the bricks, pal, and beat it, because you are going out.
2 in a row. They're not ready for. I mean, look, you can say, they pushed Houston around. It's like, okay, yeah, you pushed them around. Win that game. Win that game, and we're talking today.
About quadrant 1 wins. These would be nice things on your resume.
Sure would.
I mean, what is the goal now? To make the NIT, to be relevant?
Oh, and then we get to have the conversation of teams opting out of the NIT. That's a fun conversation to have. Well, that's unfortunate for Syracuse. It's been a rough week for Syracuse athletics. Back-to-back losses in Vegas, and that's after you talk about 70-7 in Notre Dame.
Let's see. Melvin Council Jr., the Rochester native, 10 points in today's Kansas win over Syracuse.
Okay.
Bonnie fans, hey, he went to a bigger program. Can't be up.
Took a better job. Yeah. Or you call him a traitor. One of the other things. You want to call him a traitor, or you could say he just took a better job. We're going to take a break, come back, close things up here for the week. Hope you enjoy your holiday weekend. We'll get last call as well at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Back in the Sports Bar, it's Danger and Battaglia. Last call at 866-4326. And while we have a moment, a wish to you and yours for a very happy Thanksgiving holiday weekend as Gene and I are off the rest of this week. Gene returns on Monday with Terrible Take Timmy. And then I will be back with you guys a week from Monday after I'm done with my on-the-road assignment.
Peter writing in, I want to express my gratitude and wish the wonderful Thanksgiving to the best local sports radio show in the USA.
That's
Peter.
a little bit much, Pete, but I love you.
I was going to say, like, what do you mean? Why do we have to qualify as local? We could just say best sports radio.
Very good.
John, thank you, Peter. Happy Thanksgiving. But John in Rochester, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. You know, I got to tell you, Brian Kelly, you talked about that high school coach that was missing.
Yeah. Brian
Kelly, he fits that situation. Remember when he bailed on the University of Cincinnati?
What are you insinuating here, John? You're taking me down a path I don't know I can follow. Are you saying Brian Kelly murdered the coach, the high school coach from Virginia? What are we getting at here?
He's missing in action when his team was playing for the number one position in the country, and he was gone.
Oh, right.
I think there's.
John,
he was gone.
That was
But
somebody
Mike,
who. This guy is. You're dead.
We don't know where he is.
We don't know where
He's
he is.
officially a missing person. Brian Kelly probably went on a bender and just didn't know where he was for a night.
Well, like I tell you, Urban Meyer. Maybe they can get Urban Meyer, who's one of my favorite coaches of all time. By the way,
there he is.
And maybe Syracuse.
Yeah,
maybe Syracuse.
Yeah, I know where you're getting. I know where you're getting at, John. John just wants me to go back to Brian Kelly being the next head football coach at Syracuse, just so we could say,
"Hey guys, it's me, Brian Kelly. It's a great night to be in Orange. I'm here with my family, and then we're gonna go to Bill Gray's."
Actually, we don't have Bill Gray's in Syracuse. I go down to Skinny Atlas.
Oh, you're going to go to Skinny Atlas?
Yeah, cuz I like Skinny Atlas. It's nice. They got the spa down there.
Oh, yeah, I went down there with my wife once, and then after that, I went to a Bills game. I'm excited to be the next head coach of Syracuse. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to go up to Buffalo, and I'm going to go get some hot wings and blue cheese. And then after that, I'm going to take my kids to the Bills game.
If you are really a Syracuse fan, are you rooting for the Orange football team to get blasted by Boston College?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you want it's Bill O'Brien, right? Yeah. Bill O'Brien absolutely does a number.
Right. Yeah, this is how you're building a program and how it should look.
Yeah, cuz I don't know. You're gonna bring in Brian Kelly to be the next head coach of Syracuse?
I don't know if I like that guy.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family.
It's a great night to be at the Orange. I'm here with my family, and then we're going to go to varsity. And then after that, I'm going to have a salt potato.
Oh, I like salt potatoes, cuz. Those are pretty good. I like serving those for Thanksgiving, too.
You serve salt potatoes for Thanksgiving? You must be an a-hole.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
I need some time.
Yeah, Monday. I don't know how the world's going to look Monday.
Oh,
it's going
God.
to be an excellent day of sports. Have a safe trip, buddy. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Gino and Terrible Take Timmy when the Sports Bar returns to action Monday afternoon starting at 3. Have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. If you're traveling, travel safe. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the action. JR Sport Brief is next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening.